completely enlightens you in the morning and everything.
Welcome, welcome. Make sure you like the video before we get started. If you're new, subscribe, click that notification bell. You're going to love this show, I promise you.
Code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, on the Mypillow foam mattress, 30% off, and you get 2 free Mypillows with that, as well as a free set of 100% cotton Giza Dream Sheets, and free shipping with the promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. Well, that's a great story, Gary. I appreciate that, and thanks so much. Yeah, he's a good MAGA guy there, Wisconsin Gary, with his Mypillow mattress, 30% off. With the promo code Kane, you get 2 free MyPillows, a free set of the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets with the promo code Kane, and free shipping. That's amazing, right? You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879.
Hi, this is George Corey of the Soul Authority, and this time of
about a minute and a half till showtime.
Many people have been forced to neglect their feet. We at the Soul Authority are making it possible for you to still take care of your feet while remaining in your home, as we will send a doctor to your house for all of your podiatric needs. The best part of all is that Medicare pays for this visit. So, if you're a Medicare recipient, give the Soul Authority a call today at 954-597-7060. That's 954.
I can't get the color thing to work either.
Let social
in my chat.
stop you from taking care of your feet. Call the Soul Authority today.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you
Rome, Wisconsin back. Good to see Rome back. She was under the weather.
Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll free 1-855-FLA-3782.
All right, here we go.
You are listening to South Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1
All right. Yes, welcome. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. It is Wednesday morning, February 2nd, 2022. And of course, this is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 45 years on the Florida airwaves this year. 45 years. Wow, that's amazing. Welcome, everyone. And man, do we have a lot to talk about today. Got some bad news for Joe Biden, which is good news for America, right? If it's good for Joe Biden, it's not good for America. Right, the only other than Joe Biden, the only thing good news for Joe Biden is good for is his bank account, because we know that's getting fatter. There's a new poll out that shows that Joe Biden is in big trouble. And let me just share this, then we'll talk about this as the show goes on. A new national telephone and online survey by Rasmussen Reports and the National Pulse has found that 50% of likely U.S. voters support the impeachment of Biden. Now, it gets worse. It gets worse, people. 50% support the impeachment of Joe Biden. It gets worse, and I'll get to the worst part in just a minute. But I just want to tell you all the importance of this. This Rasmussen survey is of likely voters. Likely voters is the most scientific sample of all the samples that they use for political polling, right? They use likely voters, registered voters, and Americans. And I'll go in reverse. When you see a survey, a poll of Americans, an American may not even be registered to vote. And who knows, they may be Latin American. Like Canadians oftentimes consider themselves to be Americans, right? North Americans. So Americans is the least scientific of all. They may not be registered to vote or eligible to vote, so there's problems. The second group are registered voters, which is a little more accurate, but still not scientifically accurate. Registered voters are people that are registered to vote. They may have never voted in their life, and they may never vote. They're registered to vote. Likely voters are defined by pollsters like Rasmussen. Likely voters are people who are registered to vote, have voted in the past 2 election cycles, and tell the pollster that they plan on voting in the next election. So likely voters is the most scientifically accurate of all polling samples. All right, so a national telephone and online survey by Rasmussen Reports and the National Pulse finds that 50% of likely U.S. voters support the impeachment of Joe Biden, including 33% who strongly support it. 45% are opposed to impeaching Biden. 50%, now listen to this, people, 50% of black voters want to see Biden impeached. 50% of black voters. See, that's devastating, because black voters are a voting bloc that Democrats take for granted. And they've never had as much of the black community support as you would think, based on what you see in the news and everything, and from vocal people. But they've had a majority. And when you have half of black voters, likely voters, that's likely voters, people that have voted, will vote, promise to vote. When you have half of black voters, mostly Democrats, telling you that they want Joe Biden impeached, and when someone says they want a president impeached, they want them removed from office as well. That's huge, and it's devastating for Biden. And I'll tell you, this explains this obsession with a black female Supreme Court justice pick. You know, we've had African Americans on the Supreme Court in the past. We have an African American gentleman on the Supreme Court today, and like half the court's female today. And Joe Biden's talking like it's the 1960s or something. Then he's all like, oh, look, we're going to appoint a black woman. Oh, just stop the presses. They still had presses in Biden's day. You know, if he wanted to be bold, he would say, we're going to appoint the first Asian American to the court, the first Asian American female to the court, the first openly gay person to the court. But he didn't do any of that. He did something which is not a big deal today, because we've broken all those glass ceilings, appointing a black female to be a judge. We have women, half the court women now, at least close to it. I don't know, probably half, close to half. And, of course, we've had black members of the court. So now we know why, because the Biden White House have for quite some time had the internal polling data that's not shared with the public, that half of blacks want him impeached. And you know, if half of black voters want Biden impeached, what percentage of black voters do you think disapprove of him? Because not everyone who's upset with him or doesn't want him reelected wants him impeached. They'll let him finish out his term. So they have devastating numbers for Biden when it comes to black supporters, and that's why there is this obsession with a black female Supreme Court justice pick, which is going to be a big screw-up for Biden. Half of voters believe Joe Biden should be impeached. Nearly as many think Republicans will do it if they win a congressional majority in the midterm elections, according to the Rasmussen report. So that means that half of likely voters, they want Biden impeached, and of course, half of the likely voters also believe Republicans will do it. That's a big positive issue for Republicans towards the red wave, on top of the other things, right? Like out of control inflation, gas prices, and all of this. What is also very revealing, and explains why the far left and the Democrat Party is starting to look for someone to replace Biden in the 2024 election, is the fact that 34% of Democrats as a whole actually support impeaching Biden. The internals are fascinating. When these same respondents were asked if impeaching Trump twice was a good thing or a bad thing, only 36% said it was good. 47% said it was bad to impeach Trump. 56% of Democrats and 42% of black voters believe it was a good thing to impeach Trump. So they're in big trouble. When asked if the GOP will go through with impeachment if they recapture the House in the 2022 midterms, 45% believe it's likely. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, this is devastating. Devastating. And, you know, you're seeing a lot of strange things going on in the news. Like there's a poll today that I saw that showed Hillary Clinton would beat Joe Biden in a Florida race, for example. And I just got a notification, by the way, from Mypillow a few minutes ago, and I went and checked it. The Mypillow.com website is down due to extremely high volume. They're adding extra power to attempt to get the site up and running. This is, whoa. They just alerted me to this because I'm going on the air. Let me see here. Is it up? No, it is down. You know what I'm wondering? I just got this notice from them, an email, and then I checked it. I am wondering if this is due to extremely high volume at 6:13 in the morning at MyPillow.com, or if the anti-Mike Lindell forces are overwhelming it with activity to crash it. That's what they do. I expect them to do it with Truth Social when it goes live later this month. President Trump's social media platform. When Frank's speech went live and it crashed, what they do is, when you hear people talk about hackers, this isn't like Matthew Broderick in War Games where they break into these computer systems. They have bots from the bot farms in China overwhelm these websites and crash them with activity. So I don't know if that's what's going on or not. Oh my goodness. I'll look into that. But you can still order by phone. We'll get to that in just a minute. But anyway, so you're seeing these very strange stories coming out. Hillary would beat Biden in Florida in a primary. The last sexual harassment charge against Governor Cuomo has now been disappeared, so he is now a completely free man without any allegations or charges against him. All these sexual harassment charges against Governor Cuomo have been tossed out. If they were all bogus, why did he resign? And what I think they're doing is they're clearing the record of Cuomo so they still have him as someone who could possibly run in 2024. We're going to have a Democrat primary process for 2024, which is going to be quite vicious. Quite vicious. Hillary wants it. Cuomo wants it. Even that freak Newsom wants it. Governor Whitmer probably is eyeing it. This is going to be, and of course Kamala and Biden, they want it too. So the Democrats are in disarray like we have never seen them before. This is historic to see Democrats at each other's throats and divided. This is typically not the way it is. No matter what, you've heard President Trump say this many times, Democrats stick together. All right, listen, we're going to take our first break of the day. It's Wednesday morning. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number's toll-free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We have this new poll. 50% of black likely voters want Biden impeached. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this poll. And blacks in this audience that are Democrat, I'd love to hear you tell us why you do not want him impeached, Biden, and why you're going to vote for him. Excuse me. Do you think we have any of those voters out there? I don't know. According to these polls, he's lost the black vote. All right, we'll take our first break of this Wednesday morning edition of Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Brian Craig here. Conservative Doug called me up live on the air to tell me about his experience at Friendly Tire.
I took both eyes in the back of my Infiniti. So I called them up, and I always check prices first. Half the price of everybody else.
Half the price? Half the price at Friendly Tire. Wow.
Half the price. And
Steve Kane Show.
His tires, which nobody had, the tires I was looking at,
Hold on.
had any mileage guarantee. This is a 60,000 mile warranty. So
wow.
they're not only half the price, they're twice as good.
So you're a repeat customer over there at Friendly Tire. You bought new tires, right? So you bought new tires, because they also sell used tires, starting at just $30 for most sizes. But you bought new tires, and they were half the price at Friendly Tire than at the other tire shops around town. That is phenomenal, and came with a 60,000-mile warranty on the tires. That's great. And of course, Friendly Tire, they never charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or dispose of your old tires. The price that they give you are out the door and on the road. And
Rick, everybody should go there. I don't know how anybody can buy tires anyplace else. This guy is the best prices.
That's right. That's right. Listen, give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. His number, 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net, or you can just stop right in. The address is listed at stevekaneshow.com. 5415 Northwest 15th Street in Margate, and that's just a little north of Coconut Creek Parkway on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Well, Conservative Doug, thanks so much, and I'm glad you got such a great deal on your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Dr. Matez here from the Biostation West Delray. Many of you are familiar with the famous erection injection, an extremely effective treatment for erectile dysfunction made popular right here on the Steve Kane Show. I'm here to tell you that the erection injection is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the extensive array of treatment options now available at the Biostation West Delray. Our custom compounded products yield combinations and dosages that increase the efficacy of Viagra and Cialis greatly. We also offer treatments that can correct the problem at its source, such as PRP and sound wave pulse therapies that restore your natural function. State-of-the-art testing and the most current treatment options all available in one place, the Biostation West Delray. If you want to correct your erectile problems once and for all, call us at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, we are back. 19 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Jack.
Hey, Jack.
Yes, I'm Jack. I'm here in Fort Lauderdale. But I was calling about something really alarming about this administration that happened to my own personal family yesterday. My brother-in-law yesterday, who got COVID, was tested and positive on COVID last week, was feeling really sick, and he went to the hospital yesterday, and the hospital asked him had he been tested, or had he had a vaccination, and he said he had not had a vaccination. He chose not to take the vaccination, and they would not see him, and they turned him away and said in Kentucky now, if you haven't had your first vaccination, they won't talk to you if you have COVID.
Well, so what did you do? What did he do? Is he sick? Is he really sick?
He's really sick. He went home. He's also diabetic.
Well, this is what I would do, okay? And I'm not disbelieving your story. I don't know, okay? I do not know. You're in Kentucky. Well, I don't have time to research everyone's healthcare problems, but what I would do, I got a job to do here, but what I would have done is go to another emergency room. If I was symptomatic and was very sick, I'd go to another emergency room, and I'd go to another one, and then I'd go to another one until they admitted me, and then when I was taken care of and stable, I'd go and find a medical malpractice attorney, and I would call them up. That's what I would do. I wouldn't just go home and say, hey, it's all, okay, I'll go home and roll the dice. I would do what I told you. Keep going to hospitals until you get admitted, until you get treatment, and then once you're stabilized, call a malpractice attorney.
Okay, buddy. Listen, you have a great day.
Well, how sick is he? How sick is he?
He's very sick. He's 40 years old, so, we have that, and I'm not there, of course.
Well, that's, I'll tell you, that is, that's a rough thing, and I don't know for sure that what you're telling me is exactly true, but I have seen similar things. Steve Kane had COVID pretty bad a few weeks ago. Some of you may remember, and he called 911. The paramedics came to his house, and they would not take him to the hospital. So, hospitals are understaffed because of the reason hospitals are understaffed is because they've reduced the number of hospital workers. And they're required by law to have a certain patient-to-staff ratio. And hospitals are overwhelmed not because they're filled up, it's because they've reduced their staff, so their capacity has been reduced. And there are people that are being turned away from hospitals because of that. So let us know how it plays out.
Well, we're going to work on it all day today. God bless.
All right, take care. And I'll tell you, I gave you a little bit of advice in general about healthcare. This is something I know, unfortunately, too much about. Not with COVID, but with health in general, because of my wife's got a lot of health conditions. When you're dealing with doctors, when you are dealing with hospitals and emergency rooms, you've got to be pushy. You've got to take control of your situation. You got to tell them, and don't just do what they tell you. You got to stand your ground when you go to a doctor, or when you go to a hospital or emergency room. You've got to be an advocate for yourself or your family member if they're too sick. You just can't take their, okay, fine, and go do what they want to do. That's not how it works. They see so many people. Oftentimes they're so overwhelmed and exhausted. They just, they don't understand how you feel. They don't care. They pass the buck. So you got to be forceful. But if I got sent, if they told me they weren't going to treat me or one of my family members, I wouldn't just... Well, I'll tell you, I had an incident, actually. I just remembered this. When my daughter was a baby, my wife and I, it was late at night, and she had a fever. And we drove her right to the emergency room. And I can't remember what her fever was, and she was less than a year old, I know that. I don't remember exactly how old, but less than a year. We went to the emergency room, and they made us wait, and we waited a little bit, and we went up there. They wouldn't say, oh, no, we're busy. We've had some emergencies come in. And instead of waiting, we got in the car and drove to another hospital emergency room, and they saw her right away. That's what I'm talking about. You've got to be aggressive with your own health care in every situation, in my opinion. I mean, that's how I am. That's how my family is. I know most people, they go to an emergency room or a doctor's office, and whatever they tell them, they're like, okay, and that's the end of it. That's not how I roll, and I wouldn't do that either. So if I had a family member who was very sick with COVID, and we went to the ER and they wouldn't treat them, admit them, and they said just go home, I would argue with them, and if I didn't get anywhere, I would just go to another hospital. And if I had the same problem, I'd go to another hospital. I'd go to hospitals all day. Now, a lot of you may live more remotely. I'm in South Florida, a major metropolitan area. We have the oldest population in the country, so we have a hospital every couple of miles. You know what I mean? In a place like this. But that's what I would do. And eventually you'll find some help that way, no matter what the condition is, not just COVID. It could be anything else. All right, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. That is with Mike Lindell and Mypillow. Now, by the way, you can still order over the phone. Mike Lindell and Mypillow have been under attack by cancel culture. And in fact, I was telling you, and this has happened now, his bank, and actually they sent me some information from Mike Lindell's office last night. See, this is what has me a little suspicious. About the mypillow.com site has crashed. I have never seen this happen before. Now I'm going to give out the phone number. You can still order by phone. Last night, as I was going to bed, I got an email from Mike Lindell's office, and what they sent me 3 social media ads, and I'll show you guys on YouTube. I'll hold these up to the camera if you're watching on YouTube in a minute, but it says, Minnesota Bank and Trust has canceled Mike Lindell Fight cancel culture and show your support for Mike by shopping at MyPillow. Use the code KANE, K-A-N-E, at mypillow.com. And they sent me 3 of these social media posts last night. And I know that they have sent these to other people like me, you know, programs that advertise for Mike Lindell and MyPillow. And I am sure that people have been posting these ads to social media, Twitter, Facebook, Getter, whatever you got. People have been posting these, and I was going to start posting these actually today. And now that I see that the mypillow.com site has crashed, and they say it is due to overwhelming activity, you know, which is how these hackers operate, and they are working on it. I'm going to keep monitoring to see if the site goes back up. I believe there's a very, very, very good chance that this cancellation, in what they did, Mike Lindell has several accounts, including his charity for drug and alcohol rehabilitation, his bank accounts for Frank Speech, My Store, and other things. Not the main MyPillow company, but other, maybe 9 accounts he had at this bank. He's been canceled. The bank told him they won't do business with him anymore. He was canceled by the bank. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago, and now it's happened. So last night, I was going to sleep. It was around 8 or 9. I got the email from Mike Lindell's office with these social media posts, and I just showed people on YouTube, a couple of them. And I know people have been posting these on social media. And now, the MyPillow.com site is down due to extremely high volume. They say they're adding extra power to get it up and running. And, you know, they've got the Frank Speech professionals and everything working on it, I'm sure, right now. I think that the forces of the left have crashed the MyPillow.com site. You know, this thing we were talking about with Whoopi Goldberg yesterday, she's on a 2-week hiatus now over this. They're hoping it'll ride out the news cycle with what we were talking about with Whoopi yesterday. Last night, Sean Hannity said, if you don't like what Whoopi's saying, turn the dial. That's my belief. I am not a cancel culture person, okay? Now, there are certain things that people can do that are over the line that they have to go, but I believe in freedom of choice when it comes to listening and watching things on television, online, on the radio, on YouTube, and I am not into cancel culture. You can always watch something else, listen to someone else. You're not required to listen to these people because you don't want to get on this slippery slope. And that is the typical conservative viewpoint. They're the cancer. They hear something they don't like, they want them disappeared from society on the left. Conservatives, we're not into that. The left, on the other hand, want more than just to cancel people. They want to destroy people. Like in the last few days, this story with Joe Rogan, and a lot of people think, well, Joe Rogan won. Joe Rogan did not win. They're after Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, not only is every syllable that he broadcast on his podcast being monitored, he himself is being monitored. These forces on the left are investigating Joe Rogan right now. This is how they operate. His entire family, including his extended family, parents, cousins, nieces, nephews, the wife, the wife's family, everyone. They're scouring Hollywood for gossip from his acting days in Hollywood and all of this to try to find something on Joe Rogan to destroy him. This is what they do. And what they do to websites, we've seen this happen with Frank Speech. We saw this happen with Parler. You know, they have these bot farms in China and in Russia, and they overwhelm the servers of websites and crash them. Now, as popular as MyPillow and Mike Lindell are, there is no way that there is organic activity at 6:31 in the morning on the East Coast time that is up to the level of overwhelming the MyPillow.com website with activity. There has got to be a connection between this campaign that I was just telling you about and the liberals trying to continue the cancellation of Mike Lindell and crash his website. Now, I know Mike Lindell will get the website up and working. I'm going to give out the phone number. I'm going to keep monitoring throughout the program. And if you're an overnight listener listening tonight, and this may be resolved by then, I'm sure Mike is up with his staff working on it. I got an email from them this morning already about it. Okay? That's why I checked it. The phone number is still working, though, and you can order by phone. This is why, you know, when we tell you guys, go and order products from MyPillow, use our promo code Kane, fight the cancel culture, stand with Mike Lindell, stand with Trump, stand with MAGA, and you're supporting this program at the same time. This is not just a PR thing. This is the real deal. They're trying to destroy this man. They have overwhelmed his website with activity, trying to stop him from being able to take part in commerce and stop him from being able to do business. So, you know, I'm going to go through some of the specials at MyPillow.com. I can't check on the website. I'm going to have to just go from the top of my head. But I'm going to give out our phone number here that to order, and you can order by phone with the promo code Kane. Right now, the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, 60% off with the promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. The MyPillow My Slippers, Chaplain Jethro called in the other day. Chaplain Jethro, he's very active in our YouTube live chat room. He has neuropathy. He said within 10 minutes his neuropathy was gone when he put the MyPillow My Slippers on his feet. That's amazing. The MyPillow My Slippers with the promo code Kane at checkout, 50% off. 30% off the MyPillow bathrobes. These all make great Valentine's Day gifts. And you're fighting against the leftist cancel culture and supporting Mike Lindell and this program at the same time. Here is the phone number to call and order. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Stand with Mike Lindell. Call this number and order. They have the lowest price ever on the MyPillow itself with the promo code Kane right now, K-A-N-E. I can't give you the exact prices on all of these items because I don't have them all memorized. And the website is down due to the leftist cancel culture trying to put MyPillow and Mike Lindell out of business. So call 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code Kane, K-A-N-E. All right, we'll take our break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
I love my MyPillow towels. Unlike other towels,
Steve Kane Show.
towel absorbs. They're soft
Amen.
to the touch. They come with a 10-year warranty, a 60-day money-back guarantee. Mike Lindell says towels
Name?
that actually work.
There it is.
What a concept. But don't just take my word for it. Christine from
Look
Pennsylvania
at that.
called live on the
And it
radio.
says right there, due to
Her experience
extremely
with
high
MyPillow
volume.
towels.
How can that be at 6:30 in the morning?
My towels a couple weeks ago. And
Give me a
they
break.
are fabulous. They are the best towels I've ever used. They're just the right amount of thickness. They're not too thin. They're not too thick. And they're a great length. They're like longer than your average towel. And they are fabulous. Luxurious.
You know, what's amazing to me about the MyPillow towels, Mike Lindell's a genius with his invention. It absorbs the water, and the towel's not soaking wet after.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, other towels, the water just kind of lays on top of them. They don't absorb it, and you're just smothering water, smearing it around on your body.
Steve
Now,
Kane
with
Show.
MyPillow towels, what color did you get?
I got the
Hey.
sage green.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to order because I love purple, and I'm going to have to get a purple.
Man, my wife's ordering the purple too, and she says it doesn't match our bathrooms, but she likes the purple anyway, so we're getting purple.
Who cares?
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Christine, thank you so much. The MyPillow towels are normally $109.99, but with our promo code at checkout, Kane, K-A-N-E, just $39.99. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price.
Unbelievable.
I new and used
That's how these leftists operate.
954-977-9445. Thank you.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WW.
All right, 37 minutes after the hour. If you're on hold, stand by. If you're just tuning in, Mike Lindell's Mypillow.com website has been hacked. It has crashed due to extremely high volume. It says, there is no way there is volume at 6:37 in the a.m. on the East Coast. It's only 3:30 in the morning out in California that this is organic. The leftist, they kicked him out of all those major box stores. They got him off the home shopping channels. Now they're trying to crash his website, and they've done it. Now you can still order by phone at 1-800-716-4879. This is what the leftists do. They want to destroy anybody, anyone, anything that doesn't bend a knee and stands up to them. Wisconsin Gary, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you doing?
I'm a little numb. This attack on Mike Lindell has me very upset.
Well, I'm going to relate something to you that happened yesterday because I had a really bad day. I had to deliver in Des Plaines, Illinois, and then I had to go to a Coca-Cola to go pick up a backhaul that's going out west. But when I got to the Cisco Foods, when I checked in with the security, they didn't have no power. They said because there was a long line of trucks, and so they had to do a lot of things by hand because normally it's all by electronic, by computer to check in. But they basically said that their dry storage was all shut down. They had no power in their whole building, and the security didn't have anything going. But on the refrigerated side, they said that they had their units were still up and running, but they also were just getting ready because if that would happen on the refrigerated side, that they'd have the backup generator.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I went down over there by Niles, Illinois, they did not have any power either in their building. They had the generators running because they have to have the lights on in there so they can see to load the product. So you bring up with Mike Lindell, and all of a sudden now places in Illinois, it's kind of starting to make me wonder what's kind of going around throughout the country of how many other people are starting to have to run backup generators to keep their lights up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's something in play here. There's something in play here. Well, what I was talking about, I don't know if you heard this. The bank has finally canceled Mike Lindell. That bank in Minnesota that he was dealing with has forced him to close down his accounts. And last night around 9 o'clock, Mike Lindell's assistant sent me 3 online ads about this that they sent out to other people like me who advertise for Mike Lindell and Mypillow. And these are ads that they want us all to post to our websites and social media. I was going to start doing that this morning. And a lot of people have already been posting these. And I think that since these ads started making their way on Twitter and Facebook and elsewhere, it's set the liberals off, and they have made this, they got those bot farms in China, and in Russia, they're overwhelming the website with activity. Because the message I got from Mike Lindell's office this morning, and then it confirms it when you go to the website, the Mypillow.com website is down due to unusually high activity, which is impossible at this hour of the morning. Impossible, organically. So they're under attack right now.
And I think since you brought that up with everything because at night here in the U.S. is where you have the least amount of people that are online.
Correct.
People are sleeping. And that's about the best time for a country or Russia or China to hit those when there's lots of people that are on there. So
yeah, and you got to ask yourself, if he's this isn't some Reddit group. This is like the Democrat Party here. If, they keep telling us that Mike Lindell is a kook and all of this stuff, if he's so kooky, why are they going to such extreme efforts to stop him? He's facing this $1.3 billion with a B defamation lawsuit. They kicked him out of all these stores. His bank canceled him, and now they've crashed his website.
Right. And years ago when the internet started to come through and they started connecting that cable line through the countries, you know what? Maybe that's what we should do is go out into the ocean, find where that line is, cut it off right at the thing there so that we can stop getting stuff from China and the communications through the U.S., China, and other countries. Maybe that's what we need to do is just start bringing back our country to ourselves and be less dependent on China for a lot.
Well, the problem is all the leaders in our government work for China, according to the Peter Schweitzer book.
And accordingly, from what's hidden in the background, because one of your congressmen, Kat Kazmak, I think is her name, the Democrats now are coming up with another bill a bill that basically helps China, where China can take our intellectual property, basically cannot be held responsible for anything with the coronavirus and everything else that helps benefit China. So if a lot of you have not heard about it, she said this yesterday. I seen this on, I think it was on Forbes breaking news. But I mean, it's more of these Democrats are supporting more of China and less of the... Well,
yeah, and there's, if you go on YouTube, you can find videos of this. They steal the intellectual property of every country in the world. There are Chinese imitation Porsches and Rolls Royces even. They have no repercussions, because I imagine, like in America, the other countries' leaders are also owned by China. This is why I'm in great conflict. I'm a big fan of the Olympic Games, and this year I'm not watching. I am not going to support China and watch the Olympics this year. I never miss an Olympics.
I usually always pay attention some way or somehow with the Olympics, but I'm not watching anything in the Olympics ever since they've kind of just gone a lot more woke and all this other stuff.
Well, it's everything they've done, everything that's happened in the last 2 years on this planet, and on top of the fact that they have all of our leaders on the take. I have not missed in my lifetime that I have recollection since I've had coherence. I've never missed an opening ceremony of an Olympics, winter or summer. I'm not a sports guy, but I love the Olympics because you're rooting for your country. I'm not going to watch it this year. I'm not going to watch the opening ceremonies. I'm not going to watch the games. I am not going to support the Chinese Olympics. There's just no way in hell. Hey, Gary, thanks for the call. All right, take care. The MyPillow.com website is back up and running. Offline for about an hour, and boom, Mike Lindell. See, that's a capitalist for you. They got it working, but they're still going to be under attack. So you can go to MyPillow.com right now and order. By the way, the 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheet, 60% off, as low as $39.99 with the promo code Kane at checkout. All right, listen, Richie the Bus Driver is on deck next. I'm going to take our last break of the first hour, come back with Richie the Bus Driver. And during the break, you can go to MyPillow.com, and with our promo code Kane, order some of the great products there and stand and support Mike Lindell. We'll be right back.
Steve Kane radio listeners love Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca.
I went over to Champagne Automotive. I gotta say that this man is
these people are unbelievable.
I've dealt with in my entire life. We took a car over there that was not being used yet. It belonged to my 90-year-old dad. Everybody I had taken it to before was charging an astronomical amount of money. But when we took it over there, Eddie took a look at it, and I gotta say that this man fixed the car. It's running like a charm. Anybody that needs a mechanic, I strongly recommend Eddie, and he is just the best thing that's happened to this.
Oh, Jacqueline, not feeling well. Oh, nauseated. Oh boy. Well, I hope you feel better.
Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca. Give them a call. 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101.
Hi, Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. We survived the 2021 hurricane season. Now it's time to get your building envelope ready for the next season. Laporta Contracting installs all types of roofs, from asphalt, clay, and concrete, standing metal seam, flat roofs, and slate tile systems. Our building restoration offers complete envelope protection to include siding, stucco, concrete restoration, impact windows and doors, weatherproofing, and painting. Laporta Contracting serves single-family, multifamily, HOAs, and commercial properties. Call Laporta Contracting today for a free evaluation and estimate, and go to our website to see our team and past customer videos at laportacontracting.com. Our number is 954-604-4602. That number again is 954-604-4602. And thanks for listening to The Steve Kane Show.
Listen to The Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for WWNN.
All right, 47 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's The Steve Kane Show. We are back. We'll go to Richie, the bus driver. Hey, Richie.
Yeah, good morning, Brian. How are you today?
All right.
All right, now listen, I usually fall asleep with the radio on, so I which is kind of crazy. And I caught the last, this is important for you to hear this, I caught the last, it was at 4 o'clock in the morning on the Mark Levin show, okay? You know whose guest was? The guy that you mentioned a couple weeks ago, walkaway movement, Straka?
Yeah, Brandon Straka, yeah.
Yeah, and he had his attorney with him, and he had an interview, and he said he's going to be on, well, it'll be on again when you come home, when you get home today at 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, here's the deal. At the end, he requested all conservative talk shows in the country, please reach out to him. He wants to go on your show.
Oh, you Brandon Straka?
To go on with his lawyer. I mean, he's asking for every conservative. He says that he's not gonna stop with this walkaway movement. It's going to be bigger than ever before, and he's very upset. And what they have tried to do to this guy. And
well, you know, Brandon Straka, he is one of the biggest threats from the Democrat viewpoint to their power. You know, for those that don't remember, the walkaway movement was started by Brandon Straka. It's people who walked away from the Democrat Party to the Republican Party because of Trump. And Brandon Straka is a New York liberal, and he's gay. He's a hairdresser. And I don't know what it is about Brandon Straka. He's charismatic, he's interesting, he's spot on, but he was able to gather a video of hundreds of thousands of supporters who make these walk-away videos sharing their stories of why they left the Democrat Party, lifelong Democrats, and he put together a big movement. And they knocked him off of social media, and then he got jammed up during the Capitol breach and charged with some serious crimes, and now he's under detention at home. And they want to stop and destroy him like they did Milo.
He doesn't live. In other words, he's under restriction. Believe it or not, the judge was a Bush judge who didn't want to hear
a Bush judge, like a George W. Bush judge.
George Bush judge, and didn't want to hear a thing. A federal judge. He gave her name. His lawyer was with him.
Well, he's lucky he's free at all. I know he's under house arrest. He's under a home detention for and he's lucky he's not going away to federal prison.
The charges were misdemeanor trespass.
Yes.
And that's
it's up and working now. That might be.
But yet they threw a 3-year probation on him, where after the house arrest. So he doesn't live in Washington. So if they call him back, every time they call him back, he's got to fly in. They're trying to wreck him, but he wants to go on every conservative talk show host.
Okay.
If you want to reach out to him, I don't know if you'll be able.
Well, here's and I'm not saying no to that, but here's the thing, okay? And I'll just ask you guys this, okay? And I'm open to it. We don't do a lot of interviews. I do have guests on my podcast sometimes, and I have pretty prominent people around, that are in President Trump's immediate circle on my podcast quite often. But we don't have a lot of guests on, and there's a reason why. And I'm not saying no to Brandon Straka, but Brandon Straka is about to do a huge media tour, right? Started with Levin. I know about this. This is not news to me, what you're sharing. And I'm a supporter of Brandon Straka. But I remember right after the O.J. Simpson trial, which was the biggest news event of my lifetime in this business. People forget, but it was huge. We had an opportunity to have Marcia Clark on the show. And Steve and Al Rantel were together then. Remember Al Rantel? Steve and Al Rantel, they said, no, we're not going to have Marcia Clark on. And I was shocked because I said, we lived by this trial every day. And Steve and Marcia Clark said to me, Marcia Clark's doing this media circuit, interviews. What can we ask her? And what will she say that hasn't been asked or said by her 1,000 times? So I'm not saying no to Brandon Straka. I just don't know what I could say or ask Brandon Straka or what he would say that he's not going to be saying all over the place. So I don't know how unique that would be. You understand does that make sense? What could I say to what could I ask Brandon Straka and what could he say to me that's not going to be on 100 shows this week? You with me, Richie? Did I lose you? I guess I lost Richie, but I'll throw that question out to you. So that's one. I'm not saying no to Brandon Straka. Please don't take it that way. But these are things you've got to consider. You understand? Does that make sense? And maybe it doesn't make sense to you guys, but I just don't like to do things that are repetitive. Because sometimes if you listen to some of my interviews that I do with people on my podcast in particular, like when Peter Navarro and others, I bring up things and ask them questions they don't normally get asked. If you notice, so that's just one. That's why I don't do a lot of interviews, but when I do, I don't do interviews of people that are all over the place where, the same thing. And I'll throw that out to you. I'm not saying no to Brandon Straka. Don't misunderstand me, because I did. I was very well aware of that, and I was thinking about contacting him to have him on the show yesterday. But I'll take your calls on that at 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. It's 7 before 7, and I want to bring something up that is unrelated to what we would normally talk about. And by the way, please feel free to call me about Brandon Straka. Even the great President Trump. I've talked about this before, about interviewing President Trump. With President Trump, that's a different story, because I have a couple of things. I'm not going to tell you what they are, because I don't want somebody else to take them. But I have a couple of questions I would ask President Trump that no one has talked to him about. No one. And I've seen every interview with President Trump. In fact, I'm going to play some of his interview from Newsmax TV last night later on in the show. So with President Trump, I've got some very specific topics and questions that no one has ever asked President Trump, and he would love to talk about and love to answer and explore. And so that's, so with President Trump, I got unique stuff. With Brandon Straka, I just don't know, okay? But let me know what you think about that. Now, we just have 5 minutes left till the top of the hour, and I want to bring up this story. It involves this fired coach from the Miami Dolphins, and I want to ask you, I want to share some of this story with you. And I'm not a sports guy. I know nothing about sports, okay? Nothing. I don't talk about sports because I don't know anything about sports. But I want to bring up something with this, and I'll throw it out to you in the audience to respond to what I ask you. But the fired Miami Dolphins coach, Brian Flores, is that how he says his name, Flores, I guess? I don't even know the guy's name. I know so little. Fired Miami Dolphins coach Brian Flores filed a bombshell lawsuit against the NFL and 3 of its teams on Tuesday, saying racist hiring practices by the league have left it racially segregated and managed like a plantation. Now, that's what's being talked about mainstream by everyone. And once in this country we hear something like that, we close our ears. Oh, my goodness, not again. Give me a break. A plantation, these guys are making millions of dollars. And that's not a slave plantation. That's a free place to me. But anyway, there's something else, though, that he mentioned in the lawsuit that I want to ask about, not that. The lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court also released text messages between Coach Flores and New England Patriots coaching legend Bill Belichick, in which Belichick mistakenly congratulates his former protege for getting hired by the New York Giants. Now, here's the part that I want to ask you guys about. The lawsuit accuses the owner of the Miami Dolphins of asking the coach to tank games in order to get the number 1 draft pick by offering him $100,000 bonuses for each loss during the 2019 season. Now, that's the one part that I'm interested in. It accused the owner of the Dolphins of asking him to tank games in order to get because the last place team gets the number 1 draft pick, right? It accused the owner of the Miami Dolphins of asking him to tank games in order to get the number 1 draft pick by offering him $100,000 bonuses for each loss during the 2019 season. Now, here's what I want to ask you, that part. The rest of it I'm not interested in. I don't care about football or the Dolphins. But I've often wondered if the NFL was fixed. I've often wondered that. I don't know. But do you buy this story? Do you buy a team owner paying a coach a $100,000 bonus for each game that they lose to get the number 1 draft pick? Do you believe things like that happen? And everyone's focusing in on the racial aspect because the media is lazy and they hear racial division and they get all excited. Not only have I thought that football was fixed, not just the pro but the college level oftentimes, I'm wondering if this is a very regular practice. I want to hear your thoughts on this. And why would that happen? Why would it be fixed like this if this is true, what's being alleged in this lawsuit? It's got to be more than just a number 1 draft pick, because you're tanking a season. You're losing a lot in a season. That cost you money. I believe this part of the story. It's unfortunate that he threw in all these racial things because people are tired of that, okay? And these racist allegations, I think, discredit him so far as this other claim about being offered money to tank games. I want to hear your thoughts on this. Why would a team, do you believe the story? Do all the teams do this? And why? Do they do it to mess around with the gambling numbers? You can make a lot of money at high-level gambling. Can they make that much money to be worth losing? I don't know. But is the NFL, is professional football fixed like this? And when I heard that part of the lawsuit, I was like, wow. That explains a lot. And if it is true, how long has this been going on? Forever? Is this how the Dolphins had a season with no losses? A long time ago? I don't know. I'm not a sports guy, but I'm asking you. And this is, it's too. I wish you wouldn't have brought up the racial stuff, because this is the angle that I think is most interesting. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I got cut off, Brian, but I know about the sports thing.
Oh, it's Richie again. Okay, I should not have taken that. See, I'm late for the break. I was talking about this to Steve yesterday. Anytime I don't take a break when I'm supposed to, when I take a call, it's a call I shouldn't take. If I would have answered this during the break, I would have said 1 call per day. But go ahead, Richie, since you're on.
I know the sports deal. First of all, the NFL's a big doo-doo here because...
Well, do you believe that he was offered $100,000 a game to throw the games?
Absolutely, because Ross is a multimillionaire. He has, and there's been, he's a little shady. He's a real...
Well, but is this something that is standard practice in professional sports, or is this an isolated incident, if it's true? Well, I don't know if we're going to find out, because if professional sports, particularly the NFL, if maybe offer him a boatload of money and settle the lawsuit so it doesn't get explored through discovery. And you know, does he have text messages of this?
It affects the gambling.
It sure does.
And they let him go in better on all this. Well, there's a lot of. You're talking about.
Hey, Rich, I'm going to let you go because you got on and you snuck back through. So it's one call per day. The rest of you on hold, stand by. But I want to hear your thoughts on this. I find this interesting, and it has huge implications throughout all of athletics. All right, it's just after 7 a.m. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. 888-465-2631. Back with hour number 2 after this.
We've got you covered. AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9.
Attention seniors and those who care about them. This is Brian Craig. I'm in studio with Debbie from I Will Advisors. She has an incredible new service to tell you about called I Will Advocates. Debbie, what is I Will Advocates and how are you helping seniors?
Well, Brian, over the past few years of owning a Medicare insurance agency, we've learned that there's a huge need for Medicare advocacy. That a lot of people don't have a child or a spouse.
Wesley Lewis, $10 super chat. Thank you, thank you. Everyone, please thank Wesley for that. Good morning, Brian. I do not believe the story involving Flores. NFL owners are in it for one purpose only, to win. There have been teams that have gotten number 1 draft choices that are still and have been bad. Yeah.
Having problems refilling a prescription or feel that you're being mischarged for something, you can contact us and we will step in. Even if you're at the hospital and you feel like you're being neglected, we'll be there for you at a touch of a button, whether it's to call the nurse's station or assist in any other way.
So if someone's in the hospital, they feel they're not getting the care that they need, they haven't seen their doctor, they haven't seen their nurse, they can actually call you and you'll contact the hospital for them?
Absolutely. We act as your family. We'll step up, we'll call the nurse's station and ask for some assistance. If we can't get anything done there, we'll go to the higher levels.
Now, this is a service that you're offering. Now, they do not have to be an existing client of I Will Advisors to take advantage of this, right?
Oh, of course not. No, we're here for any Medicare client. We can assist in any way. We don't need to be your insurance agent. We're just here to help you with your medical needs.
This is an incredible opportunity for those of you who are Medicare recipients. Debbie at I Will Advocates will help you with your prescriptions. You'll set up doctor's appointments for them, including the primary care physician and specialist, right?
Of course. We'll assist in anything helping you find new doctors.
They'll help you with your medical billing. They'll help you with your insurance billing. If you feel you've been billed wrong by your doctor, they'll step in for that and even help you if you're in the hospital. Basically, what you're offering is a concierge service to senior citizens.
That's exactly it.
That's amazing. I've never heard of anything like this before. So how much does this cost?
Well, for just $20 a month, you will have the security of knowing that you have an experienced, compassionate advocate just a touch of a button away.
To learn more, call Debbie's office. The number, 954-345-1214. 954-345-1214. Or go online. You can sign up online at iwilladvocates.com. That's iwilladvocates.com.
Traveling, you need a COVID test? Maybe you need a COVID test for work or school. Stop by Any Lab Test Now of Boca or Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs. They offer all the COVID testing panels you need at the lowest...
No, the weather's nice in Florida. Weather is nice. I was going to ride my scooter this morning, but it was raining a little bit.
Where Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsboro on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Call 561-237-5009. Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs is located on the southeast corner of University Drive in Ramblewood, near the Coral Square Mall in Coral Springs. Call 954-906-5983. Make sure to tell them you heard about them on the Steve Kane Show.
Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Steve Kane Show.
To South Florida's longest running radio show.
Steve Kane Show, hold on.
To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE-1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE.
All right, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. If you have just tuned in, you have missed a lot. This show starts at 6 a.m., people. Set your alarm clocks, 5:55. Get up in time so you don't miss a moment. let me recap what I talked about in the first hour, and then I'm going to jump into some new topics and go to the calls at 1-888-GO-CANE, 1-888-465-2631. New poll out from Rasmussen. Half of black voters that are likely voters, right? 50% of African American likely voters want Biden impeached. And you got to understand something. When someone says they want a president impeached, what they really mean is removed from office because, that's what they mean. I mean, that's just what it is. So half of African American likely voters want Biden impeached and removed from office. It's the latest Rasmussen poll. That is huge, people. We're looking for some black Democrats that do not want him impeached and removed from office. I think he's doing a great job. I know I drove by the gas station down the street on the way in. Gas, $2 more a gallon than it was on Inauguration Day when I drove up to Mar-a-Lago to see our great president, Donald Trump. So, so that's, I don't know why anybody would want this guy to stay in office, but I don't think you all realize, some of you do, but most probably don't realize how important of a poll that is. When you have 50% of likely voters, which is the most scientific sample sizes for an election-related survey, a political poll, when you have 50% of black likely voters say they want Biden impeached and removed from office, that is unheard of. That's how bad this guy's doing. This isn't just those of us that are conservative partisans who want him impeached. I want him impeached too, not just to get even for these fake impeachments against Trump, but because he's a criminal. He's a criminal. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work.
Do that 50% want Biden out so that Kamala could be president?
They didn't ask that question. I don't know. That's a good. I don't know. That's Rich Allen. He's our producer over there at the radio station. That's a good question. I do not know. If you guys have the answer to that, I think they want them both gone. Now, yesterday, we mentioned something at the end of the show that I was going to talk about a great deal yesterday, but the Whoopi Goldberg story was driving the news yesterday, and we didn't get to it except at the end of the show. Rachel Maddow from MSNBC, I'm sure you've heard by now, we talked about it at the very end of the show, is taking a fake sabbatical. Something's going on with her. But she did a podcast on the Spiro Agnew scandal. And what's going on here is these are very devious people on the left. They're in a panic. President Trump on Saturday night had the largest political rally, the largest political event in the history of the United States of America Saturday night. Crazy, right? And it was cold in Texas Saturday night. They're in a panic. They want him gone. And Spiro Agnew was Nixon's first vice president. And he got, there were a couple of scandals. I was a baby. All I know is what I've heard about and read about here and there. So I'm not an expert on Spiro Agnew. But, I've got a basic understanding of it. He had a couple of problems that I know of. He had taken some bribes when he was in state government, and he had some tax problems too. And during Watergate, Spiro Agnew was investigated by some prosecutors and forced to resign. And then Ford came in. And President Ford was part of the establishment. He was in the House. Was he the whip in the House? What was his? He was a ranking member of the Republicans in the House. And he'd been there for so long. President Ford was not even going to run for re-election in the House of Representatives. He was going to do one more term maybe and retire because he'd been in government for so long. He was ready to retire, and then boom, Spiro Agnew was forced to resign, and he became vice president and president with the resignation of Richard Nixon. So how is this relevant to what's going on today? What I believe is going on is there is a move by the Democrats and the Republicans to not just impeach Joe Biden when the Republicans take over the House and the Senate, and quite possibly remove him from office. Joe Biden, presidents have been impeached, right? They got the two phony impeachments on Trump. Clinton was impeached, and Andrew Johnson was impeached, who was Lincoln's second vice president and president on the death of Lincoln. When the Democrat John Wilkes Booth killed Lincoln, he became president. He was impeached, but Biden may have the distinction of being the first president impeached and actually removed from office in the Senate trial. That has not happened. Every president has made it through the impeachment process and not been removed. And what Rachel Maddow is doing with this Ben Stein story is this, okay? She had a podcast about the Spiro Agnew scandal, which was a limited podcast, 5-10 episodes, and how these prosecutors uncovered, investigated, and forced the resignation during Watergate. She has written a book about it, which I'm not sure if the book is available yet. I'm going to check. I might actually get that book because I'm interested in the Spiro Agnew affair, but I'm starting to think about Spiro Agnew in a different way now. So she's got a book about the Spiro Agnew scandal, and Ben Stein is making a movie based on her podcast and book on the Spiro Agnew scandal that she is working on with him. Her story is she's taking a sabbatical from MSNBC to work on this movie. And my first thought, I talked about this on the podcast last night, something's not kosher about this. Something stinks. It just seems very weird to me. And Steve thought maybe she's going off to some type of rehab or something, and that's possible. She didn't look well. She looked like she was about to have a breakdown, Rachel Maddow, but it just seems odd. And now I'm thinking this, and I'm going to throw this out to you all in the listening. If you're on hold, stand by. I know I'm bringing up a lot of topics today, but there's a lot of things going on that we've got to touch on, so I can't be laser focused on one or two things. There's a lot of things up in the air right now. We're in very chaotic times in this country. And I was going to get into this yesterday, but because of the Whoopi Goldberg event, I didn't even want to mention it yesterday, and Steve wanted to hear it, and I just did it at the end, and I didn't have time. The reason I didn't want to get into it is because it takes a big explanation like I'm giving you now. I think there's a move on the Democrats to get rid of Kamala Harris from her job, and it's not going to be to the Supreme Court. They want Kamala out of office, and they want Biden out of office. And if you think that's impossible, they did it to Nixon. People forget, because a lot of it, and I was a baby, and a lot of you weren't alive then. They got rid of Spiro Agnew first, then they got rid of Richard Nixon. And they plugged in someone from the political establishment, of which Nixon never was a part of the establishment. You might think he was, and maybe had some connections, but he was never really part of their club. They plugged in Ford. So what's happened, and if you remember, we have very devious people. These are the people that went against Trump. Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, his girlfriend, and I don't know if that's a girlfriend as in a romantic relationship or like my wife has girlfriends, you know what I mean? I don't know, but Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, when those text messages came out, Lisa Page texted Peter Strzok and said she had just picked up a copy of All the President's Men, and that was their guidebook on how to deal with Trump. So this project, this movie that Rachel Maddow was working on with Ben Stein, who worked for Richard Nixon in the White House, very well could be a production they're putting together, not just for historical significance, but to set the stage to force Kamala out of the vice presidency. Get someone appointed to the vice presidency who, like Gerald Ford, is part of the establishment. And I think there's very well, I know this is some sophisticated political intrigue, no doubt about it. It sounds like a Clancy book. But I do think there's a lot of things that point to this theory possibly being true. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. Let's take our first break of the second hour. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977. Our number's toll free from anywhere, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-4 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll be right back after this. Be right back,
Attention
guys.
seniors and those who care about them. This is Brian Craig. I'm in studio with Debbie from I Will Advisors. She has an incredible new service to tell you about called I Will Advocates. Debbie, what is I Will Advocates and how are you helping seniors?
Well, Brian, over the past few years of owning a Medicare insurance agency, we've learned that there's a huge need for Medicare advocacy, that a lot of people don't have a child or a spouse that can assist them with their medical needs, and that's where we step in.
There's a lot of things that seniors need help with. Prescriptions, doctor's appointments, things like this. How do you help them with that?
If you're having a problem at the doctor's office, having problems scheduling an appointment in a timely manner, we can step in. If you're having issues at the pharmacy, having problems refilling a prescription, or feel that you're being mischarged for something, you can contact us and we will step in. Even if you're at the hospital and you feel like you're being neglected, we'll be there for you at a touch of a button, whether it's to call the nurse's station or assist in any other way.
So if someone's in the hospital, they feel they're not getting the care that they need, they haven't seen their doctor, they haven't seen their nurse, they can actually call you and you'll contact the hospital for them?
Absolutely. We act as your family. We'll step up, we'll call the nurse's station and ask for some assistance. If we can't get anything done there, we'll go to the higher levels.
Now, this is a service that you're offering. Now, they do not have to be an existing client of I Will Advisors to take advantage of this, right?
Oh, of course not. No, we're here for any Medicare client. We can assist in any way. We don't need to be your insurance agent. We're just here to help you with your medical needs.
This is an incredible opportunity for those of you who are Medicare recipients. Debbie at I Will Advocates will help you with your prescriptions. You'll set up doctor's appointments for them, including the primary care physician and specialist, right?
Of course. We'll assist in anything to help you find new doctors.
They'll help you with your medical billing. They'll help you with your insurance billing. If you feel you've been billed wrong by your doctor, they'll step in for that and even help you if you're in the hospital. Basically, what you're offering is a concierge service to senior citizens.
That's exactly it.
That's amazing. I've never heard of anything like this before. So how much does this cost?
Well, for just $20 a month, you will have the security of knowing that you have an experienced, compassionate advocate just a touch of a button away.
To learn more, call Debbie's office. The number, 954-345-1214. 954-345-1214. Or go online. You can sign up online at iwilladvocates.com. That's iwilladvocates.com. Brian Craig here. You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great job Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting did on his new roof. We have on the line John from Wellington, one of our regular callers. He just had his roof repaired by Laporta Contracting, and he wanted to share his experience.
Thanks to the Steve Kane Show, my roof repairs were just completed by Laporta Contractors. They were fast, professional, and the cost of the repairs was very reasonable. I had 4 sections of roof repaired, and upon initial inspection, they were honest and told me that my roof was good and I didn't need a new one. I called many roofers, and they were all scammers. They all wanted to put on a new roof, and they said they wouldn't repair what I had. Thanks, Brian. Another fantastic sponsor.
Wow, that's an amazing testimonial from John in Wellington. Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting will never sell you a roof that you don't need. Give him a call for a no-charge inspection of your roof. 954-604-4602. That number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for www.
All right, we're back 20 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. All right, let's go to the phones. I brought up a lot of topics today, and I have much more to bring up, too. This is, I don't know, there's so much news all over the place. By the way, Whoopi Goldberg suspended for 2 weeks. That's her punishment. Roseanne Barr lost her show that she created, that she owned. ABC, yeah, same network. 2 weeks. Is it enough? Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, yes, Doug.
How are you? You know, first I'd like to
all
say,
these topics,
I
go to the phones and it's Conservative Doug.
And wackos are relaxing a little bit now that the temperature's going back up. Anyway,
I like take it as an insult.
Is that once we take over Congress again, we'll impeach both Vice President and President And the new Speaker of the House the Republican will become president until we can vote in President.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's something going on here. They don't. Trump's not in their plan. But the Spiro Agnew story and movie with Rachel Maddow, that is not a coincidence.
Yeah, something's up. Something's definitely up. They know what is going to happen. They know that they're both incompetent. They know they both shouldn't be in office. I'm sure most Democrats don't, as you say.
No, they don't want them out because of that. Their problem, their big problem is they see Trump coming back. His popularity, he had the largest political event in the history of the United States of America Saturday night. They're in a panic. And they have no one. And they know it can't be Kamala. And Joe is fading more and more each day, and they don't see him being able to handle a presidential campaign and winning. He's so unpopular. And he's getting more and more feeble by the day. So they're in a panic, and they don't care about competency. They don't care about corruption. Democrats, all they care about is power and maintaining it. And they're not. And this could very well be their only hope to maintain their power.
Yeah, but the vote.
That's true. Hey, Doug, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. By the way, President Trump was on Newsmax TV last night. Did you guys catch it? Rob Schmidt, who's on the evenings on Newsmax TV, and I pulled up one portion of the interview when he's talking about Lindsey Graham. Now, at President Trump's rally on Saturday night, he dropped something at the end that has caused a meltdown among the establishment politicians. He talked about pardoning the January 6th prisoners. And the reason he's talking about pardoning them is not necessarily because he approves of the Capitol breach. I don't think that President Trump approves of the Capitol breach. He does not approve, though, of them being denied their basic constitutional guarantees. He believes that their rights have been violated, and that's why he's talking about pardoning them. Well, Lindsey Graham, who you can never count on, Lindsey Graham came out and attacked President Trump for this. And on Newsmax, Rob Schmidt interviewed President Trump, and President Trump responded to Lindsey Graham going after him for his mentioning pardoning the January 6 prisoners. And I thought this was interesting. I pulled this up. This is Rob Schmidt last night, Newsmax TV, in his interview with the greatest president ever, Donald Trump.
On Saturday at the rally, you talked about the potential, if it's appropriate, of pardoning some of the January 6ers. Yeah. Lindsey Graham said a couple days later he thinks that's inappropriate. What do you think?
Well, Lindsey Graham's wrong. I mean, Lindsey's a nice guy, but he's a rhino.
Okay, now slow down there. Lindsey's a nice guy, but he's a rhino. That's President Trump. Does a rhino, in your mind, also mean a never-Trumper? In my mind, it does. If someone's a rhino, they're a never-Trumper. That's how I take that. And that means don't trust them. And you know what? Nice guys can be bad guys, really, right? They can be nice on the outside, but be bad on the inside and with their actions.
On Saturday at the rally, you talked about the potential, if it's appropriate, of pardoning some of the January 6ers. Yeah. Lindsey Graham said a couple days later he thinks that's inappropriate. What do you think?
Well, Lindsey Graham's wrong. I mean, Lindsey's a nice guy, but he's a rhino. Lindsey's wrong. Look, they tried to burn down Washington. We took in federal buildings. They were terrible. Every Democrat city was on fire, and nobody says anything about it. Antifa and BLM were causing such problems, including death. Don't forget, with the exception of one young, fine woman, nobody died on January 6th. Nobody died on January 6th. They like to say 5 people, but nobody died on January 6th.
Nobody was intentionally killed.
The one person who died was Ashley Babbitt. She was killed by a ruthless man that never should have used his gun to shoot her. She was killed.
In fact, last week on Newsmax TV, Greg Kelly on Newsmax TV, who is spectacular, he's the best, he had new footage that I had not seen just moments before Ashley Babbitt was shot dead by that incompetent Capitol Police officer. She's seen on video, and you can hear her, she's trying to stop people from going through the window, from breaking down the door. She was trying to protect the Speaker's chamber moments before she was killed by the cop. And I saw that on Newsmax. It's absolutely amazing.
Ashley Babbitt, she was killed by a ruthless man that never should have used his gun to shoot her. She was killed.
And he's a hero to the left. That cop is a hero.
I think it's a disgrace. And in fact, they wanted to shield him, but he couldn't get on television fast enough. I saw his interview. And he thinks it was great that he shot her and killed her. And she didn't have a gun. She didn't have anything. There was no reason to do that.
You know, in police-involved shootings over the years, have you ever seen, other than the guy this lieutenant who shot Ashley Babbitt dead, an unarmed woman who was trying to stop the crowd from breaking down the door? For all we know, she was going through the window to blockade it. Have you ever seen a police officer in a police-involved shooting go on television before the case is resolved, even, while it's still out there in the public, and justify them shooting someone dead like that? I've never seen that before. The closest I've seen are these bizarre interviews with Tim McVeigh in jail. Remember, Tim McVeigh, he was executed, so there's no more interviews, but when he was in prison, he would do these interviews, and he was always smiling like a nice guy. And remember these? So other than Tim McVeigh, I've never seen a police officer, and I know he wasn't a police officer, but you understand what I mean? I've never seen someone who killed someone go on TV so quickly and act like everything they did was wonderful.
A hero to the left. That cop is a hero.
I think it's a disgrace. And in fact, they wanted to shield him, but he couldn't get on television fast enough. I saw his interview. And he thinks it was great that he shot her and killed her. And she didn't have a gun. She didn't have anything. There was no reason to do that. It's a disgrace. But she was the person that died. And they're not treating these people the same way. You don't see, with all of the killing and all of the fires and all of the burning, including of federal buildings, they tried to burn down the courthouses. I stopped them in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. We sent in the National Guard. I'm not even supposed to be doing that. That's supposed to be up to the Democrat governor. These are all Democrat-run areas. But with all of that, you don't see anybody going to jail and being treated like these people. These people are being treated horribly. I would absolutely, because some of them are being treated very unfairly. Yeah, I would absolutely give them a pardon
The punishments
if things
are
don't work out fairly.
Punishments are out of proportion to the crime.
Out of proportion, like 20 times out of proportion. These people are being persecuted, and the other ones, when they caught people who killed people, and they want to give them the minimum sentence. They're out there fighting for a minimum sentence. No, it's a very unfair situation. Black Lives Matter, Antifa, and others, these radical left people. I mean, you have the vice president trying to bail everybody out of jail, but they weren't in jail very long. It was pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
And getting the bail was very easy. These people are in jail, in a horrible, disgusting, dirty jail, so bad that the court system, which is very left, is angry that people have to live like this. And some of these people are not guilty. Many of these people are not guilty. What they've done to these, and in many cases, patriots, they're soldiers, they're policemen, what they've done to them compared to what they've done to the other side, you know, you have to have equal justice, and this isn't equal.
No.
So I would absolutely be prepared, and Lindsey Graham doesn't know what the hell he's talking about if he says that, because you have to have equal justice. It's very, very unfair what's happened.
Yeah. I mean, that was Rob Schmidt on Newsmax TV. That was just a spectacular interview with President Trump. And that's what I'm talking about. Okay? That interview with President Trump on Newsmax last night, that exchange right there, that was one of the best interviews I've heard with President Trump in a long time. It wasn't the normal questions they ask. And he got into very specific things and some very important. And do you also notice President Trump is in campaign mode now? His answers are much more serious, very detailed on every issue he's talking about now, whether it's in that interview or at the rally on Saturday night. And it's not just equal justice. These people are getting no justice. The Capitol breach was wrong. And I know none of you support that. President Trump doesn't support it. But everyone in our country, even non-citizens alike, are guaranteed certain rights under our Constitution. That's why, you know, the illegals that come across the southern border, as soon as they set foot on U.S. soil, the Constitution applies to them in the United States. And their rights have been denied. These are, without question, political prisoners. And the reason he's talking about pardoning them is because they have been denied their due process. I mean, look at this thing with Brandon Straka. 3 months home detention. Come on. People were stuck at home longer than that from the COVID lockdowns. Give me a break. You know, even high-profile people like Straka are getting very, very minimal sentences. And in America, we don't think we have political prisoners. The first time I knew of a political prisoner in this country wasn't that long ago, and there may have been others before, but Dinesh D'Souza. If you watch one of the, Dinesh D'Souza has a new movie coming out, which we'll be watching. Oh my goodness, will we ever? But his movie, Hillary's America, he should re-release that movie and retitle it. I watched it a couple years ago on Amazon Prime, and I think a lot of people don't pay attention to the movie because when they hear the title, Hillary's America, they think it's dated. It is not dated. Everything in Hillary's America is very relevant. And it'll if you haven't seen it, go find it online and watch it. It might still be on Amazon Prime, I don't know. But in the beginning of that movie, he details the prison that Obama sent him to. Now, he broke some campaign laws, but they sent him to a prison with rapists, murderers, and bank robbers. Why do you think they did that? Because they know what happens in these places. They were hoping bad things happened to Dinesh D'Souza. He did well, though. He survived it, and he's free. But he was a political prisoner because he was high profile opposing Barack Obama. And that was the first time I knew of a political prisoner held by the U.S. government. Now we have a whole bunch of them, hundreds of them, from the Capitol breach. Capitol breach was wrong, but these people have been in prison a year or more, some of them. They're being denied health treatment. They're being forced to eat food that their body cannot digest properly, making them sick. They have a guard in there who walks around in Black Lives Matter T-shirts, we've been told by prisoners. There's a lot of abuse going on with these prisoners. You know, and what President Trump talked about with Kamala Harris with her bail fund. Remember those bail funds? You know, here you got Jen Psaki attacking Judge Jeanine and Fox News for pointing out that they're soft on crime. She thinks that's funny, that they're soft on crime. That's a joke. The vice president of the Democrats was raising bail money for Antifa and Black Lives Matter activists that were committing acts of violence and destroying people's businesses, burning businesses down. That's like burning down someone's home. A small business owner, their place of business is like their home. They're there more than they're at home, and it supports them and their whole family. And they're gone. Those businesses are gone, and they never come back like they were. So yeah, not only are they soft on crime, they're pro-crime when the criminals are out there helping them accomplish their agenda. All right, 35 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE, 1-888-465-2631. Back right after this.
Hi, folks. Dr. Matez here. Now with the Biostation West Delray. At Biostation West Delray, we continue to offer the highest level of experience and care.
Yes, Florida Girl, I just referenced that movie.
I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
I love my MyPillow towels. Unlike other towels, the MyPillow towel Mike Lindell says towels that actually work. What a concept. But don't just take my word for it. Christine from Pennsylvania called live on the radio and shared her experience.
Story during the break on the gun database that that Biden has. Oh my goodness.
You know what's amazing to me about the MyPillow towels? Mike Lindell's a genius with his invention.
Trump.
What color did you get?
I got the sage green.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm going to order because I love purple, and I'm going to have to get a purple.
Man, my wife's ordering the purple too, and she says it doesn't match our bathrooms, but she likes the purple anyway, so we're getting purple. Exactly. Exactly. All right, Christine, thank you so much. The MyPillow towels are normally $109.99, but with our promo code at checkout, Kane, K-A-N-E, just $39.99. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables.
Mypillow sites back up.
Yep, thanks.
855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for it.
All right, if you're just tuning in, boy, have you missed a lot. It's 38 minutes after the hour. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Dead. You know, and you've got this new mayor. He's been mayor 3 minutes, and, of course, he's not blaming the shooter. He's not blaming crime. He's blaming guns. Guns. You know, a gun is a tool, like a screwdriver, a car. They don't operate on their own, like anything else, right? But they're blaming guns, and Eric Adams you've heard he's a real. By the way, that suit he wears, how much does that suit cost? I see he's got a whole bunch of them, but man, he's got some expensive suits. I buy my suits at the Men's Warehouse in Burlington Coat Factory. You know, but you know, hey, listen, I'm not the mayor of New York. But and I only wear suits on our cruises anyway. I don't wear them anywhere else. So Mayor Adams is talking about not only the guns are the problem, but how the federal government needs to get involved. Well, something just leaked out. And this is a move by the Democrats, and this is crazy. This is in the Washington Free Beacon. Freebeacon.com is the website. It's a very good source of news. The Washington Free Beacon, just Google it, it'll come up, and you'll be blown away by that site. It's one of the best online news sites out there. The Biden administration is in possession. Now, listen to this. The Biden administration is in possession of nearly 1 billion, with a B, records detailing American citizens' firearm purchases. Far more than Congress and the public has been aware of, according to new information from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives that was obtained by the Washington Free Beacon. I'll get into more details on this. You know, I'm a gun owner. I know a lot of you are as well. I own multiple guns. I'm not going to tell you how many because it's none of your business. We do not have a gun registry, or at least we thought, and there's not a gun database in this country, so far as we thought. Now we find that the federal government has a huge number of records, and this is how. Listen to this. The ATF disclosed to lawmakers that it manages a database of 920,664,765 firearm purchase records, including both digital and hard copy versions of these transactions. So how did they do it? See, these people in the government are very sneaky. So how did they amass a database that's just shy of 1 billion records, a billion transactions of guns? And you know, and I've told people, You know, if people knew how many guns were in this country, I think even our NRA friends would be like freaked out. There's over 1 billion guns in America. Of the guns I own, some of them belong to my grandfather and are over 100 years old, and they look brand new, right? This is how they did it. When a licensed gun store goes out of business, its private records detailing gun transactions become ATF property and are stored at a federal site in West Virginia. The practice has contributed to the fears of gun advocacy groups and Second Amendment champions in Congress that the federal government is creating a national database of gun owners, which violates long-standing federal statutes. You know, yeah, that's right. And a lot of gun stores, they go out of business, they get bought, they get sold. You know, here in Florida, after the Parkland shooting, there was a gun store that sold the gun to Nicholas Cruz that was used in the shooting, and it was located not far from the school, and it had been in business for a long time. They went out of business. Now everybody that ever bought a gun there, boom. And people don't realize, you know there's a background check, but a background check is, because I know a lot of people will say, well, they do background checks. Just because you do a background check doesn't mean you have the gun. You may not have gone through with the purchase, and a background check does not detail the weapon, unless maybe you're going for some specialty thing with a special license with certain, you know, like a automatic weapon. But if you go in to buy a Glock at your local gun store, okay, and they do a background check, the background check doesn't detail the gun that you're thinking of purchasing, and it doesn't detail whether or not you bought the gun. It's just a record of a background check. The store owner keeps a record with your name, your address, your driver's license number, and the gun that you purchased in detail. And now we find out that the federal government has all these records. So there is, it's incomplete, but they have a pretty solid national gun database. Even those of us in great states like Ron DeSantis' free Florida and in Texas. And a lot of people say, well, why do you care? I'll tell you why. Because they want the database so they know where to come and get them. In the original Red Dawn movie, not that pathetic remake, in Red Dawn with Patrick Swayze, there's a scene in the beginning of that movie. I don't know who made Red Dawn, but they had to be Republicans. Maybe closeted Republicans because it was Hollywood. But there's an interesting line in that movie, in Red Dawn, when, it's the Russians and the Cubans. They invade and they're in that town. In the scene at night, it's towards the beginning of the movie, when the fighting is still going on in the little city, you see the Cuban colonel go up to two guys, and it's translated, because he's speaking to them in Spanish. It's translated in English on the screen. It's in Red Dawn. I'm sure you've seen this. He tells his guys to go to the sporting goods store and what forms to look for in the filing cabinet of the sporting goods store so that he can get a list with the addresses of every gun owner in the county. And they go and do it. And then what did they do? They sent Russian soldiers to the house to get the guns because they didn't want them to have a resistance. And one of those was C. Thomas Howell's dad. But anyway, not to digress onto that, that scene in the movie wasn't an accident or a throwaway. Whoever wrote or directed Red Dawn put that in for a very specific reason. The danger of having a national gun database, which we now learn that the federal government has. And the Democrats got a lot of problems going on. They have no candidates. They have a failed president. They got a vice president that's not electable, that no one likes. She only had 1% of support among Democrats in the primary. That's why she dropped out. They need something. And they're throwing a lot of things out there, right? Whether it's the wag the dog in Ukraine, but now, gun control. You used to hear Rush Limbaugh. Rush would often talk about how Democrats have that old playbook that they go back to. And one of the things in that old playbook, it's an old worn-out playbook, but these are their old plays, is gun control. They love gun control. They think that's a big issue for them. I don't think it is because, during the beginning of the pandemic, when it first happened, before we had lockdowns, I didn't have my Glock at the time. I got my Glock for my birthday last year, but one of the guns I talk about that I have, I don't tell people all the guns I have, is a .38. And I went to the local gun store to buy ammo for my .38. They were out of ammo. I went to a couple stores. They were out of ammo for the .38. I did get some, but it took me about a week. And this is before lockdowns happened. But I went to a couple gun stores, and there were people in there buying guns for the first time. At this one particular one, there was a guy who came to Florida from New York, and he was just buying a Glock, and he didn't want his wife to know. And he was picking it up because there's like a waiting period. So for the background check. So he was picking up the gun, and I heard him tell the guy that he had never held a gun before. Can you believe? And this was a guy who was like 40, 45 years old. During the pandemic last year, gun sales, or 2 years ago, gun sales were through the roof. Through the roof. And when I went to buy my Glock last year on my birthday, I had a hard time, because gun stores were out of guns, not just ammo, out of guns. I went to one big gun store. They had like 3 guns in the whole place. So there's a lot of gun owners out there. But this database that they have, is a shocker. But the Democrats, if they're going to run on gun control, they are, I think they're going to be shocked. People are not, even Democrat people. This guy from New York that bought that Glock, his first time he ever held a gun. He shouldn't have been buying a semi-auto. He should have bought a revolver if it was his first gun, but in my opinion. But anyway, gun control is not as popular among Democrats as it used to be. It's popular in New York and a couple of isolated liberal areas, but they've got the Democrat, behind them already. But mainstream across the country, because of the pandemic and the lockdowns and fears that people had then, and the crime waves that were going on last year and the year before, the gun control is a bad issue for them. These new crime waves that are going, it's a very bad issue for them, so bring it on. Bring on that as an issue. It's a big loser for them. That's why 50% of likely black voters want Biden impeached and removed from office, according to the latest Rasmussen poll, because the Democrats have lost touch with the pulse of the American people on pretty much every issue out there, which is good news for us, because the red wave will be coming. All right, it's 49 minutes after the hour. Let's take that break. We'll be right back.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will develop a foot ulcer at some point in your life? And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes, can lead to severe health consequences, up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Brian Craig here. You've heard Steve Kane talk about the great job Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting did on his new roof. We have on the line John from Wellington, one of our regular callers. He just had his roof repaired by Laporta Contracting, and he wanted to share his experience.
Thanks to the Steve Kane Show, my roof repairs were just completed by Laporta Contractors. They were fast, professional, and the cost of the repairs was very reasonable. I've had 4 sections of roof repaired, and upon initial inspection, they were honest and told me that my roof was good and I didn't
an amazing testimonial from John in Wellington. Tom Laporta at Laporta Contracting will never sell you a roof that you don't need. Give him a call for a no-charge inspection of your roof. 954-604-4602. That number rings directly to Tom Laporta's cell phone. 954-604-4602. And online, LaportaContracting.com.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, guys, I am very far behind on the... There's so much going on, and I'm trying to get all of these different stories in today. And those of you that have been on hold, my apologies for not rushing to the calls. In the next hour, I'll try to take more calls, and I'm very far behind on the breaks. And I want to tell you something here real quick. I was talking earlier in the show that I believe Rachel Maddow is involved in an operation with the Republican establishment with this Spiro Agnew project to set the stage to remove Kamala Harris from office, whether it's from resignation or scandal. Okay? They want Biden out. They want Kamala out of the way. And I think that's Rachel Maddow's sabbatical is for that. This new movie she's working on with Ben Stein about Spiro Agnew. I do believe that. And she is a hardcore political operative that works with Republicans, Rachel Maddow. I'll tell you a quick story that I just forgot about. I forgot about that I just remembered during the break. I've told this story on the air many years ago. I got a call from Rachel Maddow's show once. They wanted some information on Allen West. When Allen West was running for Congress and in Congress down here in Florida, there was a controversy with Allen West. And Allen West was friends with Steve, and I was friends with Allen West at the time. And we supported him in both of his congressional runs, the one he lost, then the one he won. And then something happened with Steve and Allen West, and we had a bit of a falling out. But regardless of that, he was part of the Tea Party revolution, Allen West. And the Republicans tried to get control of the Tea Party candidates, and they did it by sending chiefs of staff to them that worked for the Republican National Committee, as opposed to people they handpicked. And Allen West chose Joyce Kaufman, who's a radio talk show host, someone that goes way back with Steve and me, and we have a checkered past with Joyce, but I got respect for Joyce Kaufman. She may not think I do, but I do. Allen West picked Joyce Kaufman to be his chief of staff. They didn't want her to be his chief of staff, the Republican establishment. And he told them to go screw themselves. Then a story came out, Joyce Kaufman, and it was a big story. It was a national story covered by Rachel Maddow, and this is what they called me about. Joyce Kaufman introduced Allen West at an event. It was prior to the election, and it was recorded on videotape. And I'm sorry for referencing this, Joyce, but I think it's... Well, you know what? I looked at the clock. I'm going to have to tell the story after the break. I'm not doing a tease. I don't tease stories through breaks on purpose, but I got to get us back on schedule here. Okay, so after the break, I'll tell you how Rachel Maddow works with Republicans. All right, but that'll be after the break. And I think it'll shock you when I tell you this story. And I told this story on the air the next day when it happened. So some of you that were listening back then may remember it. All right, listen. It is time for a break, our last break of the hour. And, of course, this is time for the Health Report with Janet Cimarelli from AJ's Natural Wellness Shop in the Festival Marketplace. Janet Cimarelli, good morning.
Good morning, and then you will have the rest of the story after.
That's right.
Remember that, right?
The rest, yes, that's right. Paul Harvey.
Right. Okay, and so this is the little morning health tip, things that will help people get through the day. So I just want to talk about the most common mineral deficiency across the board in the population, and it does so many different things. It helps with regularity. It helps to get rid of toxic accumulation. It's part of balancing your blood sugar. It allows your blood vessels to relax, so people's blood pressure is going to respond positively. So many different associations with magnesium. And I can tell your listeners that at AJ's Natural Wellness Shop and Festival Marketplace, we have so many different choices on how to enhance your magnesium status. Magnesium status to enhance your sleep, reduce anxiety, and as I mentioned, achieve regularity. So many people are having such significant digestive situations, and those situations are the result of anxiety and stress, and all of this can be very gently resolved with magnesium. So we have magnesium powders for different issues that people may be dealing with. We have magnesium, a very specific form of magnesium that's going to be helpful specifically with migraine headaches. So you can come in and find out about easy-to-swallow capsules or tablets, the powders, a variety of different choices so that you enhance your magnesium status. And you can make sure that that status is enhanced with a blood test from Advanced Med.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm going to be stopping by AJ's later this week. I've got a health issue. I'm not going to disclose right now. After I go to AJ's and get it worked out, I'll tell you guys about it. But I want to find out what the solution is before I tell everybody what my problems are. And I'm going to stop in and talk to Janet Cimarelli and Anita over at AJ's Natural Wellness. And inside, head back towards the food court. Right before the food court, look west. When you see the information booth, that's where AJ's Natural Wellness Shop is. Very easy to find. And they're also available for curbside service. They ship anywhere as well, in town, out of state, if you can't make it into the festival. And here's the number, 954-317-1851. 954-317-1851. All right, it's 8 a.m. Janet, have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow. All right, we'll take a quick break and be right back.
AM 1470, FM 95.3, 96.9. South Florida's FM Money Talk Radio Network. WWNN, Pompano Beach.
Hi, Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contract.
Now, I don't like doing teases either, but I had to because the break schedule.
It's time to get your building envelope ready for the next season. Laporta Contracting installs all types of roofs, from asphalt, clay.
Why do I have tape on my finger? No reason. I've just been playing with tape. I've got 4 pieces of it here.
Envelope protection to include siding, stucco, concrete restoration, impact windows and doors, weatherproofing, and painting. Laporta Contracting serves single-family, multifamily, HOAs, and commercial properties. Call Laporta Contracting today for a free evaluation and estimate, and go to our website to see our team and past customer videos at LaportaContracting.com.
Steve Kane Show.
Our number is 954-604-4602. That number again is 954-604-4602. And thanks for listening to the Steve Kane Show.
The Steve Kane Show is brought to you by Attorney Barry Siegel at the Siegel Law Group. Are you concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Call the Siegel Law Group with 9
I have a fidget spinner at home. I'm fidgeting because I've cut back on my coffee. That's why you see me drinking water. That's why I'm fidgety today.
You are listening to South
Hey.
Florida's longest
Tape.
running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. To call the show toll free, dial 1-888-GO-KANE 1. That's 1-888-GO-KANE 1. And
Alrighty, hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I apologize for the tease. Worked in the Nixon White House. You've all seen him in the Nixon White House. You just probably don't know it. If you ever go back and watch President Nixon's goodbye speech to the White House staff, you see a young kid, about 25, bawling his eyes out like he's at a funeral. That's Ben Stein. Okay? So he's and I like Ben Stein. He's a longtime Republican establishment guy. This Spiro Agnew thing she's working on, it's just so strange to me. To me, it now looks like they're trying to get rid of Kamala Harris, and they're using this very old Spiro Agnew. Although it's an interesting story, and I'm interested in it. In fact, I might even buy Rachel Maddow's book and read the book. I'm so interested in it. I think they're bringing back this old Spiro Agnew business to set the stage. Uniparty, and the reason they wanted states with President Trump, 90,000 inside the venue, tens of thousands outside turned away because of capacity. 30 miles out, the roads were lined up with Trump supporters on the way to the rally. 30 miles out. Largest political event in the history of the United States. So the Uniparty, the Republican-Democrat establishment, their main goal is to stop Trump's re-election. They need a candidate. They need a viable candidate. It's not Biden, it's not Kamala. They want her out. Rachel Maddow works with Republicans, and I'll just tell you this quick story that I teased before the break, and it'll explain it. When Alan West, who's running for governor in Texas now, was here in Florida, and he got elected to Congress, he was part of the Tea Party revolution. This was in 2010, remember? And the Republican establishment in D.C. had a meltdown over this because they were losing control of the party in the House of Representatives. And they tried to get control by sending to all of the new Tea Party freshman House members chiefs of staff that came from the Republican National Committee and the Republican Congressional Committee. And the Tea Party, this was very high profile when this story happened at the time. The Republican Tea Party freshman House members told them all to go to, where, and said no and use their own people. And the Republicans were trying to control them, and they were trying to get them to drop their chiefs of staff so they could bring in a chief of staff to control them. Alan West hired Joyce Kaufman to be his chief of staff, and they did not want that to happen, the Republican establishment. And they found a controversial video of Joyce Kaufman, who's a radio talk show host. Steve and I know Joyce. We very, very bad history with Joyce. We've had a lot of feuds, Joyce Kaufman and myself and Steve Kane, but I got a lot of respect for Joyce, and she may not think this, but I do. But anyway, Joyce Kaufman, they had a very controversial piece of videotape. She was on a stage at a political event talking about Alan West, and she said, and this was recorded, if we lose this election, this is what Joyce Kaufman said, if we lose this election, I'm going to go to Kentucky, find some like-minded people that understand that there are some things worth dying for. And this became a national story. And I was familiar with this because I had seen the speech long before it became public that she gave. And I got a call from Rachel Maddow's senior producer at the time. This was back in 2010. And they wanted me because they wanted Steve and I both to do this. I don't know how they knew, but they knew that Steve and I had a relationship with Joyce Kaufman that's been very strained over the years. We've had a lot of on-air feuds with Joyce Kaufman over the years. Not for a long time, but back then things were pretty fresh. And someone tipped them off, and Rachel Maddow, senior producer, called me on my cell phone. I don't know how they got that number, but they did. And they wanted dirt on Joyce Kaufman. And can you believe this? A Republican conservative talk show host hired by Alan West to be his chief of staff. And I was trying to help Joyce because this was like a dream job for her. She was been talking about it on the air. She was going to be the chief of staff for Congressman Alan West, and she was going to Washington. She had even, this was after the election, they had won. They hadn't been sworn in yet. She had even gone up there to take part in or either she had or was about to take part in the the training seminar for incoming chiefs of staff, so I try to help her. And I knew something about that event, and I said to Rachel Maddow's producers, I said, you know, because I knew Alan West would be okay. He was the elected official. He hadn't even been sworn in yet. Joyce was in trouble. So I said to the producer, and I don't remember, it was a man. I don't remember his name, but he was her senior producer at the time, and this is like in 2010, because Alan West had just gotten elected. And I said, you know, I'm going to give you a news scoop. I'm going to give you a scoop here, because I know something about that day that I don't think you know. And he said, what is it? I said, if you go and get the entire event, which is available, and I told him where to get it, Joyce was introducing Alan West. And Alan West came up right after her and said almost the exact same thing. So I said, if you want a story, no one knows who Joyce is, but everyone knows Alan West. And I did this to try to take the heat off of Joyce. So, and I didn't tell them anything other than that, because I'm not cooperating with Rachel Maddow's producers or MSNBC, and I'm certainly not going to give someone information to bring down someone that I know, Joyce Kaufman, right? So I watched Rachel Maddow that night. They did the story, and they showed the clip of Joyce Kaufman, and they cut it off right at the end, and they didn't show the clip of Alan West saying almost the exact same thing, word for word, when he came up. And the point of that story, with what's going on with the Spiro Agnew thing that she's doing to bring down Kamala with Ben Stein, is this. Rachel Maddow at the time and her producers were working with the Republican establishment to get control of Alan West by getting his chief of staff out. And what happened is Alan West, after they did it, it was a day or two stories. There were some other things that I'm not going to get sidetracked on that because of that story. Alan West had to fire Joyce Kaufman before she even started the job, and he hired a new chief of staff who used to work for Bob Barr, I believe. I think it was Bob Barr, if I remember correctly. So, you know, so that Rachel Maddow has a history of working with the Republican establishment. I know that because of the experience I just shared with you. So she is working with the Republican establishment right now to try to get Kamala Harris out of the picture using the Spiro Agnew route. All right, let me give out the number. I'm going to go to the phones right now. 1-888-GO-KANE-1, 888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Juan from Colton.
Oh, hey, Juan.
Hey, yeah, listen. Listening to the show, I was going to call about but what you're saying there with Joyce Kaufman and these placebo, I like to call them, Republicans, that is so important to shine the light on that, because these are the Tea Party that you call them. It's so important to shine the light on that, because these people are actually more part of the problem than they are the solution. And this is why, and Gary from Wisconsin mentioned it. You know what? There's no way that they're going to divide us like they did, like they dissolved the Tea Party. I think that MAGA is pretty much the Tea Party, which, you know, we're just being more discreet.
They got rid of the Tea Party, and you notice that Alan West isn't in Congress anymore. They got him out of Congress. But that shows you that Rachel Maddow works with the Republican establishment. She went to Princeton. She's probably in the deep state, as many in the national media are. But there's this new poll out today. 50%, and this is Rasmussen. This isn't some fringe poll. Is that the Democrat establishment are attempting to do, and the Republican establishment are cooperating to do the same thing to Biden and Kamala that they did to Nixon and Spiro Agnew. That's what's going on here.
Yeah, okay, all right, thank you.
I mean, I know it seems complex, and there's a big picture. These are devious people.
It's so not.
And the reason they're doing it is because that rally in Conroe, Texas, the largest political rally in the history, beyond scared, the largest political rally in the history of America with President Trump Saturday night. There may have been 500,000 people that showed up for him.
Wait, real quickly, last thing, Brian. Wait till we put our convoy together over here in the United States.
Yeah. Okay, take care, Juan. Okay, now after the break, Steve Kane will be joining us. This is some devious stuff that's going on here. They're trying to get rid of Biden and Kamala, the Democrat and Republican establishment, to put somebody in there that it can at least, in their minds, be competition for President Trump. That Conroe, Texas rally didn't just scare them, it terrified them beyond imagination. It was like the scariest movie you've ever seen. It was like watching the scariest scene in the scariest movie you've ever seen in continuous loop during that rally for the establishment of both parties. We're going to take a break. If you're on hold, stand by. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-CANE-1. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. This year celebrating 45 years on the Florida airwaves, the Steve Kane Show. Steve will be joining us after the break. We'll be right back.
If you suffer with diabetes, did you know there's a 25% chance that you will
Steve Kane Show.
Foot ulcer at some point in your life?
Steve Kane Show.
And foot ulcers, when you have diabetes,
Hold on.
can
Steve
lead
Kane
to
Show. Hold on.
severe health
Hold on.
consequences, up to and including amputation. Now, Medicare recognizes the importance of preventative foot care and has provided coverage for those of you who are at-risk patients. I want to introduce you to my good friends at the Soul Authority. At the Soul Authority, at little or no cost, you can receive your very own pair of therapeutic shoes made specially for diabetics. You're probably not aware, but as a diabetic Medicare recipient, you are entitled to one pair of high-quality diabetic shoes with 3 custom inserts per year. These are not the ugly Frankenstein shoes. These are name-brand shoes. They're stylish. They'll provide you with the extra width and extra depth to stop diabetic foot problems before they begin. Oftentimes, amputation due to diabetes is preventable, and one of the preventable measures that is most effective is wearing the proper shoes. Call the Soul Authority at 954-597-7060 or online at thesoulauthority.com. That's THESOLE authority.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
This is Lori Kane, and I want to tell you about Brighton Dental Care. I just had a lot of work done, and I avoided going to the dentist for a lot of years because I was afraid of the cost. But I went to Brighton Dental for my free consultation, which, by the way, he offers to all Steve Kane listeners. I had 2 cavities, I needed a crown on top and a crown on the bottom. If I were a horse, they would have put me down. So I scheduled my appointment for the next Saturday because Brighton Dental has Saturday appointments available, and they saved me a ton of money. And I will be a patient for life. Don't let cost stop you from taking care of your teeth. Brighton Dental gives Steve Kane listeners incredible discounts on all dental procedures, just like they gave me. Prices are so reasonable, you don't have to worry about the cost. So call Brighton Dental today at 954-922-4633. That's 954-922-4633. You can visit them at brightondental.com and tell them Lori Kane sent you.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we are back 18 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve, you with us? Oh, my goodness. A lot of things have been happening today since 6 a.m.
Bated breath.
Oh, my goodness. It's been a crazy day. Mike Lindell's website, Mypillow, was hacked this morning, that has been resolved. The leftist attacked his website. Which I'll get into some more details with that later. But I was talking about what's going on with Rachel Maddow with this Spiro Agnew thing that she's working on with Ben Stein and Kamala, and I was thinking about this a lot yesterday and seeing everything that's going on, and then that instance I was talking about in the last segment about how Rachel Maddow was working with the Republicans to get rid of Joyce Kaufman from Alan West's chief of staff job. They're making a move to get rid of both Kamala Harris and Biden before the next election, before the convention. Not the midterm, I mean the presidential election.
It's a scuttlebutt. I sense a difference in the coverage in terms of whether the Justice Department and all these investigations are going. It seems to me, I'm starting to believe they're really going to go after Joe.
They're going after. Well, they're going after the big three. They're going after Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and a story broke yesterday. There's an investigation by the FBI into Nancy Pelosi's family. Remember last week she made that announcement that she was going to run after she said she wouldn't, and it was very weird. She seemed very strange, and she talked about doing this for the children. Remember that? It was about a week ago. What came out yesterday? Her son is involved in a bribery scandal in San Francisco, and it's under investigation by the FBI. Pelosi's son. He was bribing. He allegedly bribing local officials to get building and construction permits on properties out there.
Get her to withdraw.
Yeah, I think this. Well, they're trying to get her to play ball at least. This thing with her son. Listen, like Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi's son is not going to be arrested. He's not going to be charged with a grand jury indictment or anything. But they're scaring him. They're scaring the Pelosi's, letting them know that they could come after them. And when she said, "I'm doing this for the children," 80 times during that, one for every year she is old, she was talking about her own children. So there's a major takedown going on, and I'd really forgotten, because Spiro Agnew's before my time. But I watched that whole segment with Rachel Maddow. I knew what happened with Spiro Agnew, but what I did not know about it was this. There were a team of prosecutors, 4 to 6 prosecutors, who were investigating Spiro Agnew on the bribe and the tax problems. That was going on during the Watergate scandal. I did not know this. I thought that was handled and resolved before Watergate. It was going on. He resigned in the early days of the Watergate scandal before it exploded into as big as it became. So they got rid of the president and vice president. And Gerald Ford was a Republican establishment guy who was about to retire from politics. And I was like, why would Rachel Maddow be doing something on Spiro Agnew? It's interesting, and I'm interested in it. I'm going to get her book because I want to read it and find out about it. But it just seems so strange to me, and now it makes sense what they're doing. They're trying to get rid of Kamala and Biden, just like Spiro Agnew and Nixon. That's what it looks like. Because I think Rachel Maddow, this is not a long time plan. I think they've just thrown this together this week. Because
it's been through their mind.
No, but they've taken action this week because of Trump's historic rally in Texas. The largest political event in the history of the United States was Trump's rally Saturday night in Texas. In history. Well, it scared the daylights out of them. And I think that's why Rachel Maddow's making this move so abruptly and unannounced. Boom. She just signed her biggest deal ever with MSNBC. They just renewed her contract for many millions more than they've ever paid her. So, and taking this sabbatical right now, she may be going to rehab, she may be going to treatment, she may be, I don't know, she may be getting, I don't know what she's, But this Spiro Agnew thing she's working on is to get people accustomed to the idea that you can get, vice presidents can be removed too. There's something in play here. And this new poll from Rasmussen today, 50% of likely black voters want Biden impeached and removed from office and believe that the Republicans will do it when they retake the Congress in this election. That's why they're so desperate to nominate a black woman for the Supreme Court. They think this is going to save Joe with black voters.
Well, it all fits what you're saying. It makes sense.
It does. Well, let me give out the numbers. I want to hear what you guys think. I've been going on so long today about this stuff, but there's craziness going on. Our number is toll-free 1-888-GO-CANE-1. Now, this judge confirmation is going to be a disaster for a couple reasons. One, everything Joe Biden does is a disaster, right? I mean, we know this. But the people that are on their judge list are so radical. There was a happening yesterday in a Senate hearing with Ted Cruz. Have you seen this? Okay, you'll see it today. We're ahead of the game on this. You know, the news was so dominated with Whoopi Goldberg yesterday. Ted Cruz had a major moment in a Senate hearing with a federal judge nominee of Biden's. And I'm going to play you the exchange, and it is insane. She's an Asian woman. Her name is Kinley Kaya Cato, and she's nominated by Biden for the United States Federal District Judge spot for the California Central District, okay? And Ted Cruz asked her a very simple question that she would not give a straight answer to. And he asked her, and I'm going to play the exchange. He asked her the question. It explains itself. Okay, so let me just play, and you'll hear the question. This is Ted Cruz yesterday, and this is with this federal judge nominee yesterday. Nobody saw this. Nobody watched it because Whoopi Goldberg was in the news. But this is a preview of what to expect when Biden nominates a black radical woman for the Supreme Court. Listen, this is Cruz yesterday.
Judge Cotto, I want to start with you. Is racial discrimination wrong?
Pretty simple. Is racial discrimination wrong? The answer to that's no, right? Everyone's against racial discrimination. Well, not Biden's nominee.
Judge Cotto, I want to start with you. Is racial discrimination wrong?
Senator.
She's thinking. I mean, that dead air, that's her thinking. I know, it gets you excited. It got you all choked up.
Sounds like she knows where he's going.
Yeah, she's thinking, like, I'm screwed now. Yeah.
Judge Cotto, I want to start with you. Is racial discrimination wrong?
Senator, our Constitution prohibits race discrimination. Discrimination on the basis of race.
Okay, let me ask again, is racial discrimination wrong?
Senator, as a judge, I don't deal with issues of morality or whether something...
So you have no views on whether it's right or wrong?
Senator, because that is an issue that is frequently litigated before the courts, pursuant to Canon 3 of the Code of Conduct...
Okay, so why does the Constitution prohibit racial discrimination?
Senator, I think it's part of our Constitution and this nation's history of aiming for equal justice.
See, she can't say it's wrong. And let me play a little bit more of it. It's almost over.
And treating people, regardless of any protected class status, equally and fairly.
So discriminating based on race violates, I think you just said, our Constitution's history of aiming for justice. Is that a fair characterization?
Senator, our case law, if you're talking about race discrimination under the law, yes, pursuant to Supreme Court precedent, race discrimination under the law is prohibited.
So you and I are both...
Okay, and it goes on. She never says, no, it's wrong. Because you can't say racial discrimination is wrong to Democrats because Democrats want to racially discriminate against Caucasians in our society today. And that was yesterday. Didn't make the news because Whoopi's hogging up all the air. But that's a preview of what's going to happen when Biden picks another You know, this generation of people they nominate for judges now, they think like her. They're millennials, or just beyond, and they're very radical. And Ted Cruz was kind of just practicing for the Supreme Court hearing, I think. And he's going to ask similar questions like that of Biden's pick. It's going to be if this was the woman nominated for the Supreme Court, and that happened live on television, they wouldn't be able to cover it up. There'd be a national dialogue going. So this Supreme Court, people just assume he's got advise and consent. He'll get it through. The people his group of people to choose from are so radical when they can't even say racial discrimination is wrong. It's going to backfire on. It's going to be a disaster.
Some are perhaps more radical than others.
Yes.
Of the nominees, but the question is he going to?
They're all this radical, Steve.
Well, not equally. I don't believe. I mean,
The person he picks for the Supreme Court will be more activist than her, because that's what we're talking about. This woman's a nobody, even though she'll get confirmed. She'll be on that federal court, but
their MO. That's what they go to play for the Democrats is the race card, and that's why that's what they're running on in the aftermath of these votes.
When
see, they want to stir up the radical
Steve Kane Show.
They don't want to stir up the.
Hey, Sarah, hold on.
The people that Biden.
Yeah. Yeah, what the woman that Biden picks is going to be radical, more radical than this woman. Ted Cruz and others are going to ask her questions, and there's going to be many moments like just that one. If that was the Supreme Court hearing, that nominee would be done. This is going to be the most disastrous Supreme Court hearings we've ever seen. It's going to be more shocking than Clarence Thomas and Bork.
He thought ahead.
Well, he's desperate. He's desperate because 50% of likely black voters want him impeached and removed from office. He's desperate to pick somebody to try to bring them back. And anytime you do anything in desperation is disaster. Now, listen, we're going to take a break. When we get back on the line, we have Sarah from Colorado who has been down with the COVID. So we got a break, Sarah. So you hold on. If your nurses come in for some tests, tell them to hold on because you're going to be on the radio in a couple minutes, all right? Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Steve Kane is here. We'll break and be right back after this. Do not go anywhere.
Good morning, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Stacy from Deerfield Beach. This is in reference to Champagne Automotive. I went over there. They're wonderful. I have a Kia Optima Eco Hybrid. When I called, it needed service. I didn't want to bring it to the dealership because they would charge me through the roof. And basically, when I did call, they said bring it in the next day. He's amazing. He did everything. He didn't overcharge me. He went through my car, and I would recommend anybody to go to him. He's absolutely amazing.
Well, you know, Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca, they do great work, and I want to thank you for calling. And I learned something about Champagne Automotive Repair from you in this call. I did not know that they actually did repairs on hybrid vehicles.
What had happened was when I brought it to the dealership, they were like, well, we want to do this, we want to do that. And when
Hey guys, make sure you like the video, and if you're not, please subscribe. And everybody, check and click that notification bell. All those things tell the YouTube algorithm to recommend my videos to more and more people that like this kind of content. It helps grow the channel on my goal to get to 50,000 subscribers. And you guys can help me by subscribing, clicking the notification bell, and liking the videos always.
They'll never do a repair on your vehicle that your vehicle doesn't need. Their number is 561-245-8101. 561-245-8101. And what's your name, caller?
My name is Stacy, and thank you very much, Champagne Automotive, and thank you very much, Brian and Steve.
For Champagne Automotive Repair in Boca, 561-245-8101. 561-245.
Yes, it is. I'm going to talk about that later in the show, the Mypillow site.
Concerned with the distribution of your assets at the time of your passing? Avoid probate. Call the Siegel Law Group with 9 offices throughout South Florida, from Palm Beach Gardens to Coral Gables. Call toll-free 1-855-FLA-3782.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio. Just search for W.
All right, we're back. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig, Steve Kane here. And on the line, Sarah from Colorado, who has been in the hospital for quite some time with the COVID, calling in on the radio for the first time.
Are you there?
Oh, boy. They may have come. Yeah, okay, Sarah. She's in the... welcome back, Sarah.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Sarah. How you? I know you're doing better because you're calling and talking to us.
Yes. So my voice is still... It's pretty good, but I hope you all can hear me.
We can hear you.
I want to tell you all... I want to thank you for all the prayer and the support. I am going home. officially February 9th, next week.
Oh, that's awesome. 1 week away from heading home from the hospital. Now, Sarah's voice is in this condition because Sarah was on a respirator, and one thing the respirators do is, well, they aggravate your throat and make it difficult for you to speak. Yeah.
I'm excited and doing really good. So I want to really thank you, all of you. Hello, Steve. Hi.
Hey, sweetheart, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing really good, Steve.
Thinking our prayers have been with you, and it sounds from the way things are going, the prayers, as always, helped.
Yeah, and you know, Sarah, you've been in the hospital for a couple of months now. You're coming home in a week, and you beat the COVID. And you know, in the meantime, Steve had COVID too. Not as bad as you, but Steve had COVID a few weeks ago.
I had the baby COVID.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just glad you're okay, too, Steve. And I hope to come back and go to Boca soon and say hi to everybody.
That's right. That's right. And Sarah, I don't want to spoil it if you've not gotten it, but my wife and I sent you a present. I don't know. We sent it to one of your family members.
It's there.
Oh, okay. Do you know what it is? Did they tell you what it is?
No.
Oh, I won't spoil it then. I'll tell it. You're gonna love it. It'll be something you cherish for years to come.
That's so cool.
Yes, you'll love it. I sent you one of Steve's children. No, but it's close. No, it's not one of Steve's kids, but it's close. You'll love it.
Yeah, well, anyway, I just want to thank everyone for your prayers.
Well, thank you, Sarah. All right. Take care, Sarah. We'll talk soon. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. And those of you in the audience that I'll tell you off the air, Steve, what we the center. You guys out in this listening audience, your prayers were answered because we'd asked people in the listening audience to pray, and I think Sarah in Colorado had more people praying for her than anybody else I've ever known personally, and in this audience, and it really shows you the power of prayer.
It just shows you the power of prayer, exactly.
I mean, it's just yeah.
Yeah. Well,
it's scary.
It's scary, but it sounds like she's been through an ordeal, but she's come out the other side, and looks like things are going to be fine.
Oh yeah, they're sending her home
next year.
Sarah's actually booked and everything else to go on our cruise, which is going to be January on the Celebrity Apex, and so that we'll be celebrating Sarah. It's been a rough couple years. And I know it's not just us. It's a lot of other people. People have, you've had friends and family get sick. People have lost, family. Oh.
Retrospect, we'll be glad when it's over.
We lost, not to COVID. Otherwise, you and I lost a very good friend, someone very close to you that we both known for over 20 years. Todd, who went with us on our cruises. And I was just thinking about Todd Oh, yeah, he had a tragic car accident, but he had gotten me, not too long before he passed away, he had gotten me a Star Wars cookie jar that's, it's glass cookie jar, and it's the head of a stormtrooper from Star Wars, and I have it in my living room, on display in my living room. It doesn't have cookies in it. It has spare change in it. But I was just thinking of Todd last night. It's been a tough time. It's been a tough time. But you know what? We got through it. Now we just got to get through the next 3 years of Joe Biden. And that's, oh my goodness. This move to get rid of Biden and Kamala, I know sounds absurd, but things are so bad. And I don't know what they were thinking, the establishment, when they plugged in Joe Biden. I guess they thought that they could control him, and they were happy with that. They felt, he's checked out. We'll be able to control Joe, and we can always send a couple bucks his way, and he'll play ball. Things are so bad with these two. They weren't counting on that, and they thought they were going to have massive public trials of the Capitol breachers that were going to be the end of Trump. And now he's turned out to be more popular than ever with the largest political event in the history of America, Saturday night in Conroe, Texas. And what the Democrats are doing with the Republican establishment is they're reacting. They're reacting. And like there's a story today. This came out. George W. Bush donated money to Liz Cheney's campaign and Murkowski in Alaska, both being opposed by President Trump, of course. You know, and maybe Sarah Palin will be running for that Senate seat in Alaska. I don't know. But the Democrats and the Republicans are in a meltdown like this is not your regular Trump derangement syndrome. They're in a panic for their survival. And anytime you make a decision and do something in a state of anxiety and panic, it's always the wrong decision because you're not thinking clearly. And things are just going to be disaster. If they were smart, they would just sit down and ride out the Trump wave. He's only got one term left. You know, he can only have 2 terms. He'll get his 4 years, and then, you know, we'll probably get DeSantis then, but they just can't do it. I mean, I don't, you know, we weren't happy when Obama won, but we wrote it out. We knew, okay, 1 term, 2 terms, then we'll get a shot. And then we did. It was Donald Trump, you know, and they just can't handle not getting their way. You know, this, I don't think I have I don't have the clip, unfortunately, but did you see this? They were talking about it on Fox all day because it was about them. Jen Psaki was attacking Fox and Judge Jeanine for their coverage of the crime. Okay, I don't have the clip here ready. I'll look and see during the break, but I don't think I have it here in the system. But what Jen Psaki did there is she was doing this interview, and she had the TVs on, and she went through what was on CNN, MSNBC, and Fox. And CNN and MSNBC were doing stories on COVID and things that, you know, they want them to do. And Fox was doing the story on the crime wave that the Democrats are supporting. And if you listen to that clip of Jen Psaki, she's complaining that Fox News isn't towing the line, that they're going rogue and reporting the news, that they've lost control. And the establishment have lost so much control, and they're desperate to get it back, and they're screwing up. They're screwing up. And if you have not seen the Trump interview on Newsmax from last night, you got to try to watch it. I'm sure they'll rerun it on Newsmax today, Steve. It was it was one of the best. Oh, it was one of the best interviews with President Trump I had seen in a long time. There was a little bit of good news too. This transgendered swimmer is not going to be swimming anymore. So they've ruled that she's not gone through the transformation long enough, and that she has too much male testosterone, and she can no longer compete against the ladies. So the Democrats are. Oh my gosh! Well, you know what I'm wondering is, are they going to take away her? She set a whole bunch of world records because she's got all that male testosterone. I wonder if they're going to take back her world records that she broke in the last few weeks and give it back to the ladies. Do you know that this just happened last week, that the #1 female champion on Jeopardy is now a transgendered woman who was born a man? No, there's like, you know, it's just the transgender biological males are, you know, they're on a tear. That's right, they're taking everything away from the ladies. All right, listen, we're going to take our last break of the day. We'll come back with the gold report, and in the last segment, the leftist brought down Mike Lindell's MyPillow site this morning. It's back up and running now, but I want to tell people what happened there in the last segment of the show so you can understand why we are asking you so much to stand and support Mike Lindell, what he's up against, because there was a major happening, and we'll get into all of that after the gold report. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Steve is with us. We'll break and be right back. Don't go anywhere.
Brian Craig here. Conservative Doug called me up live on the air to tell me about his experience at Friendly Tire.
I had 2 bow ties in the back of my Infiniti. I called them up. I always check prices first. Half the price of everybody else.
Half the price? Half the price at Friendly Tire. Wow.
Half the price. And not only that, his tires, which nobody, the tires I've been looking at, had any mileage guarantee. His is 60,000 mile warranty. So they're not only half the price, The price is good.
So you're a repeat customer over there at Friendly Tire. You bought new tires, right? So you bought new tires, because they also sell used tires, starting at just $30 for most sizes. But you bought new tires, and they were half the price at Friendly Tire than at the other tire shops around town. That is phenomenal, and came with a 60,000-mile warranty on the tires. That's great. And of course, Friendly Tire, they never charge you to mount the tire, balance the tire, or dispose of your old tires. The price that they give you are out the door and on the road. And
everybody should go there. I don't know how anybody can buy tires anyplace else. This guy is the best prices.
That's right. That's right. Listen, give Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire a call. His number, 954-977-9445. He'll give you a quote right over the phone, 954-977-9445. Online, friendlytire.net, or you can just stop right in. The address is listed at stevekaneshow.com. 5415 Northwest 15th Street in Margate, and that's just a little north of Coconut Creek Parkway on the east side of 441 State Road 7. Well, Conservative Doug, thanks so much, and I'm glad you got such a great deal on your tires at Friendly Tire in Margate.
Do you think you've come in contact with someone who has coronavirus? Steve Kane's wife Lori did, and she went to Any Lab Test Now of Coral Springs to find out if she has coronavirus.
So I came into contact with somebody
It spins.
who tested positive for COVID. And I was
It
here,
spins.
and I needed results right away, so I went to Any Lab Test
I'm going through withdrawals from coffee. I cut my coffee back in half.
in line for 2 hours and have a swab stuck down my nose into my brain. It was very pleasant. I made an appointment. They got me in within the hour. I was out of there within 20 minutes. Thank goodness the test was negative, and I can go back to work tomorrow. They also tested me for the antibodies, and I haven't been exposed. So do what I did. Go over to Any Lab Test Now in Coral Springs. They give great rates for Steve Kane listeners, and tell them we sent you.
It's worth 15 minutes of your time to have peace of mind.
Hey there.
Is located at 955 North University Drive on the southeast corner of University and Ramblewood near the Coral Square Mall.
I gotta take all this tape off the board that I've been fidgeting with.
5983 954-906 5983. Any Lab Test Now of Boca is in the Sandalfoot Plaza, where the Western Beef is, south of Palmetto Park Road and north of Hillsborough. Call them at 561-237-5009. 561-237-5009. Make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio.
Listen to the Steve Kane Show on iHeartRadio.
All right, and it is time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking today?
Hello.
Yeah, oh, good, gotcha. Okay, sorry about that. Good morning. How the metals looking today, William Youngerman?
Good, Brian. The markets are responding to a much lower U.S. dollar value and a much higher oil price. Oil right up against $90 a barrel now, $89.50 this morning. I mean, it's getting crazy. We're heading for $100 a barrel oil, which is going to put your price at the pump higher than we've ever seen. Gold, $1,800.80 closing yesterday, up $4.20 after trading in a range of $1,796 all the way up to $1,810. Silver closed up 17 cents at $22.60, while platinum was up $7 at $1,025, and palladium was up $1 at $22.86. This morning we see gold higher again, currently at $18.0250. That's up $1.70. Silver up 10 cents at $22.70. Platinum up $15 at $1,040, and palladium up $74 at $2,360. Yesterday we did see gold get up to $1,810 before pulling back a little bit, but it did close above that $1,800 number. That's pretty much where we are.
Now everything's looking great. The prices are looking great too to buy today. You know, if someone is interested in getting involved in the metals, gold, silver, platinum, and they have not bought any before, and they stop in or call, is there something they should specifically ask for? I mean, if I've never bought gold, never bought silver, never bought platinum, but these prices are great, I want to get in, what should people do when they stop in or call? What should they be looking to pick up?
Yeah, well, as you know, Brian, we're quite happy to spend all the time necessary to explain and to help design a portfolio of the precious metals for each individual person and their particular needs. So we can't exactly say, this is what you should do, but we can do it when what your needs are and what your and we designed that portfolio of the mix of those precious metals exactly according to what we think is best for you.
Absolutely. And they're a wealth of knowledge over there at William Youngerman. And we'll have answers to all, at least they've had answers to all my questions, and Steve. And Steve and I have lots of questions. That's for sure. And there's always new ones. Okay, now William Youngerman, they open up weekdays at 10 a.m. If you want to stop in, they're right here in Boca. The address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway, on the south side of Palmetto. Online, williamyoungerman.com, or give them a call, 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. All right, William Youngerman, have a great day. We'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great.
All right, take care, take care. All right, you're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Are you talking to me?
Sounds like you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I've been listening to your show today, as I often do, but your whole show, I'm sorry, today was just full of stuff that's just not true, and stuff that you just present to your audience.
Well, that's why we open up the phones to fact checkers like you.
Okay,
pick the biggest lie of the day. We're the show's almost over, so pick today's biggest lie and run with that one.
Okay, you've been saying all day long that the rally in Texas was the biggest rally in the history of man, or whatever you said. I would like you to quantify that and prove it. Proof of that.
Well, nothing I share with you will ever be proof. I didn't say the largest rally in the... For me to answer, you have to stop talking and listen. If you can do that.
News outlet.
They are. In fact, right before Max, it says news. News is in their name. News Max. News is in their name. They're news. And they're on TV. I know, it's funny, isn't it? Yeah, I know.
I'm news. My name is...
Well, surely you know, sir, sir, this is Steve. Stop for a minute. Let's be fair, all right? We'll be fair with you, be fair with us. I mean, you didn't expect to call in without numbers, without an alternate source that contradicts it. What do you use to point to that there was a bad... What was the bigger event? What was the bigger event?
Contradict me with facts. Contradict me with facts. Not a reporter from news...
I don't think he's answering your question, Steve.
He's not. He's avoiding the question. But that tells you what you need to...
Steve had asked you, what political event can you cite that is larger than the one in Conroe, Texas, Saturday night?
Surely you must have one in your mind.
Martin Luther King.
Oh, Martin Luther King. According to Martin Luther King?
Obama, there's 14 times Obama had speeches with 1 million people.
Where was the Obama speech? Excuse me. Where was the Obama speech with 1 million people? And you said in Europe, you're talking about the one in Germany. Excuse me. That was a free music festival in Germany, and they brought Obama back to speak. They brought Obama up on stage to speak between musical sets. That was not an Obama event. It was a free music festival.
Okay.
Sorry.
United States.
Exactly. It was in Germany.
You got to do it. Look. You didn't think it through. It's fair enough. We'll give you till tomorrow, 24 hours.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, of the bigger event. All right. You can't do that, no.
I didn't say mankind. You said mankind. I didn't say mankind. You said mankind.
I mean, you're calling here with nothing except the fact that you don't believe our sources, but you don't have alternate sources.
Yeah, he did have laughter, Steve, as a response. That always. Hey, listen, take care. Thanks for the desperate attempt. Oh my goodness. So there's your fact checkers, Pete. We'll give him we'll call him the fact checker. That's a good nickname. We need a fact checker around here. Yeah, the fact checker, yes. Now, we're almost out of time, so I'll just tell you real quick, and I explained it in detail at the beginning of the show. Leftist activist crashed the Mypillow website trying to bring it down at 6:30 this morning, and in less than an hour, Mike Lindell had it up and running again. I don't have time to get into the details of it right now because the show's over, and the fact checker ate up the time I was going to share with that, but I think that was an interesting, revealing phone call. But listen, when we tell you to stand with Mike Lindell and support him and the forces he's up against, today's example of them crashing his website is an example of that. I will tomorrow give you, I'll review with Steve the details of that, but we just don't have time now because it's the end of the show. But if you listen to the first hour on the overnight rebroadcast or catch it on my YouTube channel, you can hear the whole story. But stand with Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell said the best thing you can do to support him is to go to his website and buy these great MyPillow products. And there's a flash sale going on right now. If you go to mypillow.com, click on the radio listener specials, there is a flash sale going on right now. The 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets, I have 4 sets of these sheets. Right now, 60% off the MyPillow 100% Giza Cotton Dream Sheets. 60% off, as low as $39.99. The MyPillow My Slippers, I have the MyPillow My Slippers. They have multiple styles and colors for both men and women, even pink for the ladies. 50% off the MyPillow My Slippers. The 6-piece MyPillow towel set. I dried my body with my MyPillow towels this morning. Regularly $110 with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, just $39.99. And there's many other specials there too. Whatever special you those are on the radio listener special section. Whatever special you see at mypillow.com, you can take advantage of with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. We're all out of time. You want to sign us off, Steve?
It does it for today. We will return for tomorrow's Steve Kane Show. Be sure to tune in. On behalf of Brian Craig, Tyler Kane, that's our production staff, and I'm yours truly, Steve Kane. Till tomorrow, God bless Donald Trump.
Dr. Matez here from the Biostation West Delray. Many of you are familiar with the famous erection injection, an extremely effective treatment for erectile dysfunction made popular right here on the Steve Kane Show. I'm here to tell you that the erection injection is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the extensive array of treatment options now available at the Biostation West Delray. Our custom compounded products yield combinations and dosages that...
By the way, we were out of time. He said Martin Luther King's was bigger. That is not true. But I'm not going to give that information out right now, because in case he's watching here. Now listen, guys, before you go, make sure you're subscribed, like the video, click the notification bell, all those things, liking the video, subscribing, clicking the notification bell, all that tells the YouTube algorithm to recommend my videos to other people that like this kind of content, and it helps grow my channel, bring more people over here, and that's going to help us all, especially our great President Donald Trump. So if you could do all those things before you go, it would be greatly, greatly appreciated. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for watching. I'll